Hello, Durud and Shalom. We be live. Hi, everyone. We have a lot to go through today. There's a lot of new updates. A lot of them, by the way, predicted by this monkey over here
Hello.
yesterday. Hello. Hi. Grease Monkey. You were right about many things yesterday. Do you want to
Yes.
brag? You want to do a bragging, thing? Like you want to say, I
A
told you
victory lap, a little monkey dance.
so. Yeah, monkey dance. Yes, yeah. Go ahead. Get it out there. Tell people.
Well, we had mentioned yesterday, this was in my heart more than in my realm of possibilities. I had it at about a 10% chance that, look, maybe Lebanon and Israel are going to make some kind of deal. Like having them talk is about, okay, just stop calling what Israel is doing an invasion. As a government, we support them in getting rid of Hezbollah because, well, I'm gonna go farther in this lap. I said having the threat of Julani is going to make Lebanon and Israel work together because they would rather have that. And I remember I was not respecting the voices. I was a very bad person for suggesting that the threat of the decapitator was anything but stupidity. But it led directly here because I assure you, neither Lebanon nor Israel want Julani to come in. So what happened? Oh, they're talking. It seems that they can work it out. Seems like they're like, no, I don't want Julani and his Turkish buddies coming over here. Erdogan and Julani to come over here and try to fix this.
Wait.
We'll work it out.
First, you have to tell people what happened because people are like, you have to give people context, right?
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Give them some context.
Okay, so yeah, like always assume people have no idea what you're talking about because you're all talking about all of this detailed stuff. You have to give like a one line, like a easy to understand for people who have not been following the news what happened before we jump into it, right? So the news is that Israel and Lebanon have came into with an agreement that Israel is going to provide an opportunity for the Lebanese army to push Hezbollah back in certain areas. And then they will see how they do. And then if it works well, they will go to other places. So that's the context. That's the agreement. And now Lebanon is on fire because Hezbollah people are like, hell no. We're not gonna let you do that. But that's the agreement that has been signed between Lebanon's government and Israel, right?
Yes, we know that they're probably coordinating, giving the intel to Lebanon so they know where to go, right? I mean, right. Lebanon might have its own intelligence on this, but I doubt it's going to be as good as Israel. So this is this.
So I okay. So I don't want to ruin your victory dance. I doubt it has much to do with Syria, but I'm gonna go with what you're saying. Okay, I think this is Israel showing to the world that this is not going to work, right? I think that's, I might be wrong. Okay. So Monkey's theory is that this is them pushing the whole Syria comment pushed Israel and Lebanon to do this. Okay. Which might be right. My theory is that Israel is like, you want other people to take care of Hezbollah? Let's give them a chance. Go ahead. Be my guest. And then once they fail, give it back to us. That's Lior is saying my money is on the monkey.
Thank you.
Okay. So that's so it's good. We'll see which one ends up being correct. Okay. But yeah, too interesting. But it's an interesting development for sure. Right?
Talks are the beginning of coordinated strikes. You start with talks, then your military start talking. If your military has a common goal, even if they don't like each other, they're going to like the intelligence because whoever is the general that's in charge of Lebanon is going to like getting some victory. And his surest chance at some victories is taking that Israeli intelligence. And he gets more little medals on his chest, more little money in his pocket, and he's going to start getting addicted to that great Israeli intelligence on where these bastards are.
So Lior is asking, how significant and historic is this? Very. And it potentially could lead to a civil war in Lebanon like we had before. The last civil war in Lebanon lasted 15 fucking years, right? And this has the potential, instead of disarming Hezbollah, is probably it has a high potential of moving Lebanon into another civil war. That's that's the worry here. That's the worry here, right?
And a question: that
Hmm.
15-year war was highly funded by Iran and outside actors, right?
No, that's
Not
no,
IRGC.
no, no. That civil war opened the door to the Islamic Republic to come and take over Lebanon. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Omid is saying, "Whoa, that's a nice banner, man. You guys like it? Do you like this monkey? Look at that.
I think I want to learn how to do that. You do great stuff.
Oh yeah, it's cute. It's cute, right? The guys like it. I didn't like the fact that when we were over here, we had the flags, and when you're here, we don't see the flags. Okay, so I put this here so that we see the flags regardless. And also we got a super chat from Fleshy. Thank you so much, Fleshy. Already getting us started. Saying straight free MOU
Pre.
closed right now. Oh, closed right now. Oh, completely. Oh, it's completely closed. Holy shit, 100% closed. What's the oil prices at? So, Monkey, when you're not speaking, close your mic so we don't hear the background noise. Oh my god, how is this? How is this a thing? How is this are you sure it's completely closed, Fleshy? Because prices are still low. Wait, oh no, sorry, never mind. The markets are closed. What am I even talking about? We'll see the adjustments on open on Monday, I guess. Okay, so I forgot that yesterday we already discussed the fact that President Trump responded to the Islamic Republic aggression to the Singaporean commercial ship only right before the markets were closing to take advantage of the fact that the markets are closing. So yeah, that's why we're not saying any. I forgot that it's the weekend. I'm sorry. Anyways, let's get an update to everybody regarding what just happened so that everybody is on the same page, and then we could talk about it. We'll talk about the current conflict in the Strait of Hormuz, the back and forth, and then we'll go to the Lebanon situation right now, and then we'll go to videos I have from the internal politics within Iran. Is that helpful? Do you like that? I think
That sounds fantastic.
Okay. So let's just get a quick update over here. And guys, let me know what your opinions are regarding the current ceasefire, non-ceasefire MOU situation. My view right now is that both the Islamic Republic and United States have the same agenda. They both want to not get to full escalation, but they also want to show that they're not holding back if they're getting attacked or if they're not happy with the situation, right? So the Islamic Republic doesn't want to look like a pussy to its own internal audience, and they want to also show that they can that they will respond once attacked. And President Trump also wants to show that, when the Islamic Republic violates the MOU, we will respond. We will respond strongly. But both sides, they were like, okay, let's keep the level of conflict and military conflict at this level, but not higher. Both sides are very motivated in keeping the escalation low. The Islamic Republic is motivated on that because they can't afford to go back to full-on head-to-head kinetic military operations. They can't afford that at all right now. United States is also low on munitions, and also they want to keep oil prices down before the midterm elections. However, one thing you have to realize is that the fundamentals is still fucked up. The fundamental conflict between the Islamic Republic and United States, none of that has gone away. So we are going to, I think we're going to, for the foreseeable future, we're going to have these periods of time where we have a very fiery ceasefire between them. But one way or another, we are going to go to conflict. The timing of it is not at all clear, but the conflict between United States and the Islamic Republic is so fundamental that one way or another they're going to go back to it in different ways. Like there is no way. Like it was always inevitable that we were going to get here, because the Islamic Republic is fundamentally anti-American, and it's fundamentally designed to grow to the point that it could show maximum aggression towards America. It's a fundamental feature of the Islamic Republic. So until you could completely get rid of that system, we will be back here at some point. Monkey, you want to say something?
These are not logical actors. So if they're not logical actors, the things that would logically make a regime like, wait, let's make a deal, maybe we have another way forward here, won't work on them. There are one goal people, and they want the apocalyptic, whatever. Well, if I'm going to be more pragmatic, they want control of the strait and attacks on it. They want to be able to get a toll on the strait. I think that's like their main goal, and this whole big mess is a way to kind of get control of the strait, get like a steady income from that, and they're not going to back away from it. Their like underlying long-term goal is the apocalypse. So I mean, you can't work with these people. They're a little crazy. They're very fragmented. So that's my take on it, my outsider take. These are not logical actors.
So, I might disagree a little bit. I think they're more logical than people give them credit. I think at the end of it, it all comes down to money and power. And a lot of times if you go into the details, you'll see that these whole Durka jihadi Islamic end of times narratives is a tool. They do take advantage of idiots very well, but if you figure out if you actually look into the internal politics of the Islamic Republic and see what brings these power, what brings these people power and money, then you'll see that actually it makes sense that they would make those decisions, right? So that's one thing. And also when it comes to the Strait of Hormuz, the Strait of Hormuz is not the goal itself, it's leverage for another goal. So the Islamic Republic is looking at the Strait of Hormuz as one of the most important leverages that they need to, be able to use, because they have lost a lot of their leverage. And the only three significant remaining leverage right now is Hezbollah, the enriched uranium, and the Strait of Hormuz. So right now, they're not going to collect tolls, and it's really difficult to see how they ever could. But they are trying to create a framework where the threat of them being able to collect tolls would be high, so that everybody knows, like, oh my God, like they have to deal with the Islamic. Even if you want to make sure that the Islamic Republic cannot collect tolls, because they have created the framework and the infrastructure for them to do so, then you have to negotiate with them, and you have to worry about them, and you have to. They want to be annoying so that they could get something in return of not collecting tolls, right? So, for example, they want to make it very clear that the waterways that they want ships to be used has to be their ones. It shouldn't be the Omani ones. It has to be the ones closer to Iran. They want to make sure that they have a platform where people have to submit before they go through the Strait of Hormuz. So, for example, this most recent attack that you saw on the Singaporean ship was it wasn't because they were collecting tolls. It was because they were insisting that you shouldn't go through the Strait of Hormuz, through the southern part of the Strait of Hormuz, which is the Omani waterway. You have to go through the northern path, which is their path, which is, if they ever could collect tolls, ships would have to go through that path. So they're trying to create a framework where it would be an issue all the time that they might collect tolls. Even if you stop them, the fact that it's an issue, it means that they could put pressure on America and ask for more. Because when you come to the negotiating table, the more leverage you have, the more you can ask for. Does that make sense?
I think we're pretty much agreeing. Like what I said kind of goes in line with what you were saying. They want a
Mhm.
toll. That's more of a like long-term goal. Especially now that uranium is not looking like a path forward, and the apocalypse would be not great for profit. Like this is more the that's more of a propaganda line for the streets than it is an actual goal. The problem is that it's a little bit detrimental to their goals. It helps them control the people, but it also causes uh you know uh fanaticism that makes you have to appease these people with signals and actions. But if we're,
Mhm.
yeah, I think we're in line on that. Their stated purpose is, and why do they want that closer road? Because it lets them inspect. Let's say they get 1% of everything that goes through there. That's still a massive amount of money. If they said, "Oh,
Yeah,
it's reasonable. It's only 1%." Yeah, 1% out of a million barrels of oil is a lot of money.
yeah, yeah. It is, yeah, especially for them. Fleshy Interloper with a super chat saying Lebanese army advancing backwards. Oh, we're gonna get updates on that. Do we have updates regarding them, their success? I will bring up the Lebanese. Oh, okay. Let me make sure I am monitoring that. We will get to that for sure. Thank you for reminding me. So let me add that to my list because I want to listen to Marco Rubio. He actually came out and give a. He talked a lot about this whole agreement between Lebanon and Israel. So we're going to have Amu Markomo explaining to us exactly what's happening. And then we're going to keep an eye on the most recent updates in Lebanon. So I'm going to make sure I'll play an update on that for you guys. And then all of us will comment on it here together. So thank you, Flesh Interloper. I just added that to the list of things to check today. And then we have Fickle Nut. Thank you so much for the super chat saying, Armin, what info do you have on Abraham Accords and the significance of the peace agreement? So this is actually very interesting. The MOU and the negotiations between United States and the Islamic Republic has been tied to the Abrahamic Accords, and they are now completely linked with each other. This is, Fickle, this is really good that you're asking that because a lot of people don't understand how big of it, how connected these are, and also how big picture everything that is happening in the Persian Gulf and Iran and the conflict between the United States and the Islamic Republic is actually bigger than Iran. It's bigger than Iran, and it's even bigger than the Middle East, right? So if you want to understand how you could tie all of this with each other, I'll tell you this, right? This all of this started with World War II, and this is a continuation of a much longer trend since World War II. So since World War II, we had United States basically becoming the dominant military and economic power in the world, turning into the main military force that makes maritime international trade possible, and which is the backbone of global economy. So everything that you see in the current world order, and the international standards and laws that they have come up with, it's it's not about after World War II. People's impression is that the horrors of World War II created these new international standards as a way to protect human rights. uh, it's not about that. It's about the economy. It's about the fact that European countries were hurt more significantly from World War II, and United States, because of its distance, managed to fill in the gap when it comes to providing the industrial supply to the world because of Europe falling behind. United States managed to create its dominance over everybody else, and during that time where Europe was recovering, United States turned into the world power, and its military provided the whole global economy the ability to recover from World War II, and the whole world became more prosperous and a lot more stable because the risk for maritime trade was reduced to a level never seen in the 10,000 years of history of civilization. U.S. military, the growth of the U.S. economy, and the fact that it could use that to create such a giant military that provides stability all around the world, made it so that the economy around the world grew at a much more rapid pace. And United States was benefiting from that a lot. However, even though United States was the main superpower of the world, it wasn't, the power of United States was not big enough for it to just be able to do this independently. It relied on allies. It relied a lot on allies to be able to have a global dominance. So it required a table where, based on this framework created by United States, everybody agrees to a certain rules. Well, not just United States and the victors of World War II. Everybody at that time, participation of other world powers was very much required, right? For them to create this new global standard where we have this stability, and United States will be benefiting from it. And the United States was the main backer of it, but the other main countries were, like the countries, for example, that are in the United Nations Security Council are the main countries that were backing this new system. And it benefited everyone else because it provided some stability for everybody. So it was an opt-in, like everybody had to agree to it. So United States had to make the system. United States and the victors of World War II had to create a system where everybody would volunteer to come in and become a member of it, which is like everybody in the United Nations that has a seat in the United Nations, right? However, what has happened since World War II is that this new global world order is not working very well anymore for United States, because the gap between the power of United States and the rest of the world has widened. And even though United States still needs its allies and still needs the cooperations of the other countries, the United States power has become more significantly distant from other countries. So the framework needs to change. And United States before was providing a lot of military service, security services to so many other countries, because it was a win-win for United States and those countries. But given that United States is now so much bigger and so much powerful, it can renegotiate this agreement and push all of these other countries to not just leech on the security that American taxpayers are paying for, and basically push all of these other countries, its own allies, to start spending on their own military more, and for it to still be present in all of these countries, but be less present and spend less money and focus more of its military power on its own hemisphere, right? So one thing that we saw, for example, is that in the 1970s, United States had an agreement with Arab countries around the Persian Gulf that I provide you security. In return, you sell oil to me and everyone else in USD. And that was the birth of the petrodollar, right? And that was a good agreement. That was a good arrangement. It was win-win for both of them. But ever since then, the United States reliance on the Arab countries around the Persian Gulf has become so much less. And this whole arrangement of I'll just give you security, it doesn't make sense as much anymore. United States, because United States has so much leverage, it doesn't require to just provide all of these services for free. You know, the US dollar is strong, not just because oil is sold in USD. It has many other factors are attributing to the strength of US dollar. And United States has its own oil. Again, I'm not saying United States doesn't need the Arab countries around the Persian Gulf. This is a spectrum. This is not like a binary 0 and 1, 0 and 100, okay? The reliance has reduced. So these arrangements need to be renegotiated. These arrangements that has never been written down, these were unwritten agreements. So in the same way that the new global order needs to become now more favorable to United States, because United States is contributing more than other countries. So either this arrangement has to be renegotiated so that we have a global order that United States is benefiting more from, because why am I policing the world without getting more benefit from it? Or Other countries need to start contributing more to the global order, to the security of the global order, or maybe a little bit of both. So with these Arab countries, in the same way that United States is pushing Taiwan to spend more of its GDP on its military, the same way with Ukraine, the same with NATO member countries, the same way with Israel, right? And I think this is a win for these countries, right? It's the same thing with these Arab countries. United States is basically pulling out slowly, and it's like, you guys need to figure your shit out more. You can't just leech off of my free security services in this area. I'm going to go focus on my hemisphere a little bit more. You guys need to figure this shit out. That is the whole point of the Abrahamic Accord. So how does this tie? So first of all, the point of the Abrahamic Accord is that these Arab countries, they cannot fight. They cannot fight at all. So they're not like Ukraine and Taiwan and NATO member countries. So even if you give them the most advanced military weapons, they suck at war. Okay, and they also don't have their own standing armies. They might have big toys, like very expensive toys to play with, but they don't have like actual armies. Like, I don't know, Turkey has an actual army, Egypt has an actual army, Saudi Arabia doesn't, UAE doesn't, Qatar doesn't, Bahrain doesn't, Kuwait doesn't, okay, Oman doesn't. So what do you do? Like, Saudi Arabia was trying to act like, okay, I'm going to go to China and to Russia. Go, try. They're not going to be able to do shit. Russia couldn't even provide the security services that France was providing in Africa when they actually did their own propaganda against the French, for the French to leave Africa, and the Russians coming out and providing security services to countries in Africa. Look at what the fuck is happening in Africa. Mali has been taken over by Al-Qaeda for the first time in history. So Russia couldn't even provide security services that France was providing in Africa. So Russia is not an option. China is not an option. China doesn't even have the upper hand when it comes to the military in its own neighborhood. You want them to come to the military, to the Middle East, and provide security services the same way United States can? They will not be able to do that. They have only 4, I think, airstrike carrier groups. United States has 11. And guess what? They need their 4 in their own neighborhood. The best China could do is come and talk to you guys and provide a table for you to negotiate with. So China is not a replacement. The only thing that is a replacement to the security services that United States provides in the Middle East is Israel. It's Israel. So United States, with the Abrahamic Accord, is trying to make everybody here in the Middle East understand that just get, you guys, I'm going to go out. I'm going to slowly move out of this neighborhood. I'm going to always be here to some extent, but not as much as before. And you guys are fucking screwed if you don't understand that the only security guarantor in this region is Israel. You either get under the security umbrella of Israel or you get fucked. Okay, that's the message of United States to the countries in this region, right? Nobody else could do that other than Israel. I mean, not United States as a whole, not just, President, I mean, President Trump's recent messages goes against that, but overall, we're moving in this trend. That was the whole point of the Abrahamic Accord, that it's Israel and no one else. I mean, I don't know if Monkey is right. Maybe if we're doing 5D chess, maybe you're like, okay, try Syria. Like, you guys tried China, it didn't work. You guys tried Russia, it didn't work. How about you try Syria? So you can see that doesn't work. You could try Lebanon providing its own security services. So you see that doesn't work. So everybody finally comes to the conclusion that is Israel and no one else. And maybe that's the 5D chess here move. But we don't know. But whether it's or not, that's going to be the conclusion. There is no other option other than Israel. So you could try everything else. Fuck the 2-state solution. You guys insisting on like, oh, we will do that. We will normalize relationship with Israel once we have Palestine. Fuck that bullshit. You saw UAE. They already came into this. You saw Bahrain. The rest of you either do this or get fucked. And the whole get fucked message is also the Islamic Republic is being displayed in real time, right? So this whole Islamic Republic attacking the Arab countries around the Persian Gulf is a great opportunity for the United States to show these countries that, look, I'm not doing much to protect you. What are you guys going to do about this, right? So this is a tough love kind of situation that these Arab countries have to learn that, one way or another, they have to accept that is Israel is the king of this region, and they have to submit, they have to bend the knee to Israel. I mean, this is the reason why when Israel gave its, so UAE accepted this, that okay, Israel, please come save us, please come save us. And Israel was like, okay, oh, I got you. I'm gonna do something for you that is going to make everybody be like, what the fuck? I'm gonna make you the only other country other than us that has the Iron Dome. The thing that we said we're not gonna share with anyone ever, we're gonna share it with you. So the other Arab countries like, oh my god, what? UAE got the Iron Dome? Holy shit. So Israel rewarded UAE in such a significant way for submitting, for bending the knee to Israel. So this is going to be a beautiful lesson for all these other Arab countries that submit to Israel or get fucked by Islamic Republic. So all of this conflict with the Islamic Republic is actually an opportunity for United States to push all of these countries into the arm of Israel. Does that make sense?
Yes. Also, wow. I want everyone to who super chats to appreciate how much Fickle Nut got out of that. So, do you see the level of care and attention that is given to your super chats? Oh my God, this is amazing. I mean, who gets this much mileage on a super chat? That's very rare. Also, I love the way you say Fickle Nut, because it's like fickle means indecisive and not means like not indecisive. But when you say fickle nut, nut can also mean organism. So it's like an indecisive organism. Fickle nut. Okay. It's very funny. You may not notice, but as you know, from my side, it's hilarious. Fickle nut. It's very funny. I would like to give a Walmart American explanation of everything you just said.
Okay, go ahead.
So at the end of World War II, everybody was broke. They had no money. And someone had to protect the trade, the ships. Who's going to protect the ship? America said, I'll protect the ships. But all you guys, you got to use the dollar when you're buying oil. When you're buying oil, you use the dollar. And I kind of need Saudi's help because that helps me buy oil, and I need your oil, and you need my protection. So we're going to have ourselves a little deal here, and I'll protect everybody's shipping because I need your oil, and everybody's going to back me up with that because as I profit from that, I'm going to build up my military more and more and more so I can protect you. But I don't need your oil no more. I got my shale. I got my own reserves. We got new ways to dig oil. I don't even need your oil no more. You guys are not putting in the help. Right? When I need your bases, you're not going to give me the bases. You guys haven't developed your own defenses so that you can, bring up your end of the bargain. And when push comes to shove, I still got to walk on over here with my carriers and take care of anything that goes wrong over here in the Persian Gulf. So we're going to have to renegotiate this deal. And you're going to have to take my brother over here, Israel, and he's going to help you. Do the same deal I had. You're going to do it with him so I can take care of stuff on my side and not be so involved in y'all's bullshit. Is that
yeah,
pretty much it?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty good. Good job. Yeah, that was good. Thank you for that translation. And then Shana gave us a super chat. Shana is saying, I am really, really tired of protecting countries when they hate us and openly state that they hate us. Yeah, I know, exactly. This is going to make them a little bit more, maybe, I don't know. They have to be more grateful. And, they leech off of the U.S. military, and they're also anti-American. Like, what the fuck? Like, it's so ungrateful. Yes, I think United States basically reducing its presence in this region is a good reminder of how much these countries, because a lot of the citizens of these countries didn't know how much United States was responsible for their security. In fact, the whole world, guys, it's not just security. Everything that you can afford, it doesn't matter where on the fucking planet you are. Let me tell you something. This is why you should be so grateful to United States. It doesn't matter where on planet Earth you're watching us from right now. Everything that you paid for, the lifestyle that you have, would have not been affordable if United States was not providing this level of security globally. The risk associated for this global economy that we have would have been so much astronomically higher that everything you have would have been astronomically more expensive. The whole world, the technology, medicine, our economy, we would have been decades behind where we are right now. Decades. And your lifestyle would be so much lower. Everything that you could afford would be so much lower than what it is right now if it wasn't because of the giant US military that exists, that is just everywhere on the planet and watching everything.
You can't get your Amazon packages on time without the U.S. Naval power. You can't even get your Temu stuff on time without the U.S. naval power, because they can't get the gas to operate their boats on time if we're not watching these all these straits, the Malacca Straits, Persian Gulf Strait. This is understated, but underestimated, but a very true statement, and I completely support what you just said.
Yeah, and also when you mention Amazon packages, those are luxuries. I'm talking about your price of food. I'm talking about the price of the place you live in. I'm talking about the price of medicine. Okay, I'm talking about, even the basics would be like more people. If it wasn't because of the level of the global economy that we have right now, more people would be hungry. More people would be homeless. More people wouldn't be able to afford basic healthcare. Globally, this would be the effect if it wasn't because of the economic growth that is possible because of three things: the security that comes from the U.S. military being present global, the effect of U.S.'s economy and the consumers, U.S. consumers, and the purchasing powers that the American citizens have, the global effect on that, right? Because the whole world wants to sell to America, and if it wasn't for the American consumers, people wouldn't be able to fucking eat. There are millions and millions, there are billions of people out there in the world that can eat food because they're getting paid providing goods and services to American consumers. If it wasn't because of the purchasing power of the American consumers, these people would not have a place to sleep. So it's the American military, it's the American economy, and it's also the American culture, the nation state model, parliaments, the three branches of the government, the institutions that exist everywhere on the planet that came out of the American Revolution, not the French Revolution, the American Revolution. All of this whole nation state model became globally dominant because of the United States of America. Nationalism as a concept became a global thing because of the American Revolution. All of this came out of America. So it's the American military, the American economy, and the American culture. Culture, I mean everything, like political structure, frameworks, institutions, all of that.
I would like to.
Yeah, go on.
I was going to add to that we have seen strong shift. Like we have already, delinked, I would say, from China to 40% from where it was before February, and before the beginning of last year, when we started doing the tariffs and started onshoring a lot of these industry. That's going to continue, and it's going to start friendshoring. So you're going to see Latin American Temu, Temu, I don't know what they're going to call it, the Muti, I don't know what they're going to call it. There's going to be, they're going to change from Alibaba to Labobi or something like that. These companies and these manufacturers, this cheap manufacturing, hear me now, listen to me later, but remember, this is all going to start shifting to South America and Central America, and they're going to see the boom that China had, but under a more right-wing governments that can better manage that growth, because the growth that China had was wasted in their top-down economy. Imagine that growth that China had because it was the hub of production under a more free market minded model. It could lead to the American, side, American hemisphere, the top to bottom, that side, having an economic power and unity that we have not seen on Earth before.
It also might help China become more capitalistic, because as more things move away from China, the only way to compete with the other countries who are taking its fair share would be for it to, at some point, free its economy a little bit more, because there's no other way to compete. Let's go to Justin. Justin, thank you so much for the super chat, saying, Armin, I think you're onto something here. Remember, Trump said he wanted peace for New Year's. Trump may be intending to use all this volatility to eventually push all the Arabs into Abrahamic Accord. Yeah, I mean, he said that. He also posted about it. And also, I do also think that this is above Trump. This is more deterministic than people realize. So yeah, I do think that Trump was, he posted about this, that these countries, all of these negotiations need to lead to eventually more Arab countries accepting the Abrahamic Accord. And I think that Trump is moving a lot in that path. I think he's a catalyst, like he's speeding it up. But I also think that this is just so much based on the laws of power and economy that it's more deterministic than people realize, and it's inevitable. Different presidents could slow it down or speed it up, but one way or another, we're going to move in this direction. And then we have Tinley.
I agree.
You agree? Okay, that's great. Tinley with a super chat saying, without the US, there won't be a Taiwan to make chips for your smartphones, tablets, computers, gaming console like Nintendo or Sony. I mean, yeah, there wouldn't even be computers or the internet at all. Like, we wouldn't have the internet or computers. Like, all of that came from the United States. Yeah. And yeah, thank you so much for the super chat. And then we have Shauna. Thank you so much for the super chat, saying Europeans deindustrializing is also a huge problem, and their green, so-called green energy. We are in a global energy crisis because of the actions of the European. Yeah, especially Germany going against nuclear. That was the most retarded shit ever. Here's the thing: when the right answer is let the fucking market decide. Okay. Here's the thing: more people need to understand that we don't know what the right answer is when it comes to the economy, when it comes to industry, when it comes to what works. I want people to learn to be more skeptical. Okay. I want people to say, like, it's like, what would work? What would help us grow? We don't fucking know. Here's a tip. Nobody fucking knows. The best answer is to just let loose and let the market figure it out, because you cannot do better than the market. You cannot. The answer to, green energy, if the governments didn't touch the market, as much as they are, there needs to be some involvement, to be fair. But if I would be 100% for whatever alternative to fossil fuels comes out, if you just let the laws of supply and demand figure it out, right? I do believe in subsidies and taxes to a limited degree if you could prove positive and negative externalities. But other than that, the government should stay the fuck out and let the market decide what direction things need to go based on the laws of demand and supply. Let the market figure it out. Nobody will be able to figure this out like a philosopher king at the top down, looking at things like, oh, I think this will make the economy more prosperous. You don't know. Nobody knows. Let the market figure it out. Let the wisdom of the crowd figure it out. And
I'd like to put a little pushback on that. We should also consider nuclear. I mean, there's no good. I know why this is happening. This is because China went into the pockets of all these people and said, hey, you forget nuclear, use our solar panels from China, use our batteries from China. One of the American people that went to talk at NATO and tell them, what is this net zero thing you're doing? You don't make batteries. How are you going to have everything work on batteries when you don't make make them? Who makes your batteries? China. You want China to be in control of your batteries, of your energy, of your everything? So here, because China does not care about profit, they have a command economy. You can have as much local free market as you want if you have someone outside tipping the scales, because they're going to produce batteries and sell them at below market value, right? And this isn't against your argument. It just supports your argument that governments are stepping in even outside your government. Right? You can have your government be very free market, and an outside government makes super cheap batteries. And then your solution is not really the best. It is the cheapest, but it also gives away control in the long run. So sometimes having your control through nuclear and that kind of, and you can't just let anybody have a nuclear power plant. So that's like a little bit of pushback, but I think I'm within the ballpark because I do agree on the larger, broader aspects of free market.
So I will respond to this. I don't want to get into it, but I think the best, if you want to, the best way to respond to a government that has command economy is not for you to move to command economy. The free market will be able to push back against a competitor that is using command economy a lot better than another command economy structure. Whatever they're doing to manipulate. So first of all, consider nuclear. Of course, consider nuclear. You don't have to consider nuclear because the market will consider nuclear. If nuclear makes sense, which I do believe nuclear makes sense, but I don't need to know that. The market will, if it makes sense, it's profitable. If it's profitable, the market would lean towards it heavily. And I think it would. The government should just be like, if the government should just stay the fuck out. And because nuclear makes sense, nuclear will be profitable and the market will just move towards it. The only time that the government should become involved here is that if your private market is so weak that even if it's profitable, it cannot get started, then you do something called PPP, which is private-public partnership, just so that you could get a jump start if your private market is so weak that could not do something that is so obviously profitable. That's the only way. And also, if it's a positive externality, you subsidize it. I don't want to get into this, but if you have a competitor that is a command economy, you don't respond to that with command economy, with more government involvement. You actually take advantage of the fact that they are weakening themselves and go more heavy free market, because your free market will be able to eat more easily, because they're like, oh, we're going to compete with you with their hands tied behind our back. Okay, I'm going to go more free. My free markets are going to be so much more flexible in tackling your fucking retarded, slow command economy. Why would I see you're tying your hand behind your back. Why would I want to do the same thing and tie my hand behind my back? I'm going to be able to kick you in your nuts while you can't do anything about it. You can't guard your nuts because you tied your hands behind your back by being a command economy. Like, I'm not going to copy you. I'm going to take advantage of you. I'm going to actually take advantage of the fact that you made your economy weaker with my fucking free markets.
You're also correct in that they are blocking nuclear. So it is the government commanding the economy away from nuclear. You're right. So I didn't consider that. That's another good point. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, you want to block nuclear? Fine, that's good. My free market is going to go take advantage of the fact that you're not supplying something so profitable, and they're going to dominate in this area that you decided to stay out of. More for my free markets, right? Yeah. Anyways, let's go to another super chat. Fleshy Interloper with the super chat. Thank you so much. Saying education system teaches colonial exploitation. Another reason why the government should stay the fuck out, because if education was based on free markets, they would teach you the things that actually makes your life, you individually, more profitable, instead of brainwashing you with fucking bullshit. This is people like free education. This is what happens when government gets involved with education. Again, I'm saying government can get involved with education, but with subsidies. Government should get involved with education on the demand side, not on the supply side. This is another thing you get when the government gets involved with education. They start supplying things that there shouldn't be a demand for because it is not fucking profitable.
Did you know
Stay
that
out
this
of.
is something they're working on, like having like a subsidy system where if you don't like the public schools, you can get a voucher for what would have been the cost of your education in the public system, and you could put that into a private school, and that's something that they're working on. Also, I do not want to have a lot of people don't want to have their hearts pulled out to make the sun go up. So that's a good thing about colonialism. Hey, no human sacrifice. That's nice.
Yeah. No, I believe you guys, I am not for zero government involvement. There are certain things that have positive externalities and the government can get involved. And like that's a really good news, Grace. The way for the government to get involved is not to supply that itself, is to just give people subsidies to go spend it on those services in the private sector. And that would increase competition instead of reduce competition. That would increase affordability rather than reduce it. When the government, okay, we're getting into too much economic stuff. We're gonna need to go back to Iran soon. Shauna, thank you so much for the super chat. Is saying we're gonna vacay in Peru. Okay, Monkey got angry. What is it about the super chat? We're gonna. You want to read it yourself? You got angry about this.
No, I was typing at, and the at is shift+2, and 2 makes the angry face. I got nothing but smiles for Shauna. Have a happy vacation. Hey, have a good time.
I'm like, oh my god, what did Shauna say? Why did the monkey get angry? Okay, so Shauna is saying we're gonna vacate in Peru. Flip-flops from Argentina, phones made in Taiwan using fuel from Venezuela. We're about to make the Americas great again. Yes, yes. This is the thing. United States is going to become so reliant on its own hemisphere that other countries need to start come and beg United States for protection unless they either have to spend on their own military or come beg United States for military, given how much everything is available in the Western Hemisphere. And then we have Fickle Nut with a super chat saying, Armin, did you hear that the October 7th happened because of a peace deal between Saudi Arabia and Israel? Did you hear this? Yes. No, it's because of the Abrahamic Accord. So Fickle Nut, you're correct. It's basically the Abrahamic Accord that you're talking about, right? I mean, well, Saudi Arabia is not part of the Abrahamic Accord, but the Islamic Republic and Hamas and Hezbollah were the axis of resistance as a whole relies on the so-called Palestinian cause, right? And they understand that the force against them is Israel and any other force in the Middle East that would want to go into the umbrella of Israel's under the security umbrella of Israel. So the Abrahamic Accord, it was the greatest existential threat to the Islamic Republic and all its proxies and the axis of resistance, right? So given that more Arab countries were going towards the Abrahamic Accords and Saudi Arabia is also desperate to move towards it, but it can't because it has a population that is very much pro the Palestinian cause, and Saudi Arabia needs to worry about an Islamic uprising in its country if it abandons the Palestinian cause too much, too fast. But the Islamic Republic the Islamic Republic and all its proxies were seeing that this is the direction things are moving, that the entire Arab world and Israel are moving together as a bloc against the Islamic Republic and the axis of resistance. And they planned October 7th mainly to stop the Abrahamic Accord from becoming a serious thing. Because the Islamic Republic's understanding is that even though the leaders of these Arab countries are against the Palestinian cause and would love to jump into the arms of Israel and say, Daddy, please protect me, I cannot protect myself. They would all love to do that, but they can't do that because they have an abusive relationship from their own people that might do an Islamic revolution on them, right? But so they did October 7th to bring the Palestinian cause back into everyone's attention and mobilize everybody in this region back to the Palestinian cause, and basically get Saudi Arabia and all of these countries to be afraid of their people, sympathizing with the Palestinian people, and abandon the project of the Abrahamic Accord, which, to be fair, it did work in delaying it, but obviously it didn't cancel it. So it did make many of these countries move away from the Abrahamic Accord, but now you can see that there is now a desperation to go back to it. So that was the main purpose of October 7th, to stop the Abrahamic Accords. All right. All right, let's go over here. Let's get to the updates that I was going to play earlier.
Meantime, there is news. The U.S. launching retaliatory strikes on Iran, taking out coastal radar sites and missile and drone storage locations, all in response to an Iranian attack on a cargo ship in the Strait of Hormuz.
And the situation is escalating. This morning, Tehran claims that their Navy targeted U.S. military positions in the region.
Rebecca Castor is live in Washington with the details. Good morning, Rebecca.
Good morning, guys. This is the most significant test to the initial peace deal since it was reached a week ago. U.S. Central Command released this video showing one of its strikes on Iran yesterday. A senior U.S. official says U.S. forces struck 4 targets located along Iran's coastline bordering the Strait of Hormuz, as well as on Qasem Island. This was all in response to Iran striking a Singapore-flagged cargo ship in the strait, a direct violation of the Memorandum of Understanding, which was supposed to ensure safe transit for all commercial vessels. Vice President JD Vance saying, Iran signed a ceasefire agreement. We have honored it. If they have disagreements about how the MOU is being applied, they can pick up the phone, but violence will be met with violence. And this morning, Iran's Revolutionary Guard.
So here's an interesting thing. The phone does get picked up. Guys, remember, this is the first time that officially we have a direct line between IRGC and CENTCOM. A direct line between IRGC and CENTCOM. We never had this before. I mean, we never officially had this before. Before we had communication was between, I don't know, people like Zarif, like the foreign minister, would get the messages from United States and give it to the IRGC. There was no officially direct talks between the Americans and the IRGC, which is interesting because the IRGC considers CENTCOM to be a terrorist organization, and CENTCOM officially considers IRGC to be terrorist, but they just recently established in Doha, Monkey, your mic is open. In Doha, they established and IRGC officials and CENTCOM officials are both in Doha directly communicating with each other to not let any of this get too high of an escalation level. So what they're doing is the IRGC and CENTCOM are communicating with each other their back and forth. Like the Islamic Republic is going to say like, okay, you have a ship going, like there are ships going down, passing through the Strait of Hormuz, close to Oman. We're going to have to attack them because it's going to look ridiculous if we don't. And United States are like, okay, one of them hit. I'm going to hit you over here. This is what we're going to do. We have to do it. Sorry, not sorry. And then the Islamic Republic are like, okay, I get it. Let's not escalate this. I have to also respond. So far, they haven't responded to that. There was I don't know if they have or not, because there was a message that was said that it was from IRGC yesterday that they said they did respond to it, and we didn't see where was. But then now apparently there was a news that IRGC came out and said like, nope, that was not our statement. That was fake news. So IRGC, I think I have to double check, but I think they haven't responded. But all of this back and forth is being done with coordination between the Americans and the Islamic Republic. They communicated with each other to make sure that it doesn't get too bad, so that they keep the negotiations going. Monkey, you wanted to say something?
I had a question. That's why I had a question. Who picks up the phone? Who's picking up? Is it Golibov? Is it who's the other guy? Pezeshkian. He's like I heard he's like the Joe Biden of the IRGC.
So it used to be like only like that, where people like before, like Zarif, now Araghchi and Ghalibaf are talking to Americans, and I'm pretty sure Ghalibaf and Araghchi are talking to the Americans, right? So I think Ghalibaf and Araghchi are talking to the White House, okay? But this one, what we have that is new is direct military communication. So we have Ghalibaf and Araghchi talking to White House officials, but that is too slow. Okay, when it comes to military operations, if they are talking, that is not fast enough to stop the conflict from escalating too much. So instead of just having Ghalibaf and Arakchi talking to the White House, they now have CENTCOM talking to IRGC, so that the line of communication is more direct between military and military, and faster and more efficient, so that they could avoid any of these escalations to get into too much, get out of control.
I understand that part, but on the bingo sheet, who is it? I mean, Vahidi would be the guy, but he's been disappeared. Like, who do you think they're talking to on that bingo card?
Ghalibaf and Arakchi.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, let's continue with this.
But violence will be met with violence. And this morning, Iran's Revolutionary Guard claims they've responded to the U.S. attacks, saying in a statement, the IRGC Navy targeted the positions of the U.S. Army in the region in response to a U.S. airstrike. If the aggression is repeated, our response will be broader than this. Iran.
So we didn't see that. Like, so first of all, IRGC said, we heard that IRGC said this, but then we heard IRGC say, like, no, this wasn't from us. So it's like, are we talking to two different parts of IRGC? And also, where did they hit? We didn't hear anything. IRGC came out and said, like, we attacked something. And we're like, okay, we didn't notice. What did you hit? Did you guys see anything? What did they hit?
Maybe they missed. They launched it, but it didn't hit. It just fell in the water.
I don't know, but they came out and, like, is this the first, like, this is...
I meant that jokingly.
Yeah, okay. Bahrain with drones. Yeah, but maybe you're right. I saw Bahrain coming out and accusing, but they hit Bahrain in a way that nobody heard anything. Like, we had to get Bahrain officially come out saying, like, yep, it was us. We got it. Like, nobody anywhere came out and said, like, we're being attacked. There's an explosion here. We heard something. Like, did we get that? Let me see. I think here's a report that we got from Bahrain, that they had to come out and say, like, yep, yeah, it was us. We were the ones who were getting, like, by the way, we predicted that it was going to be Bahrain, if it is Bahrain. Let me see. So Bahrain condemned an Iranian drone attack targeting its territory early on Saturday, accusing Tehran of violating its sovereignty and breaching the U.S.-Iran Memorandum of Understanding reached this month. The statement came hours after the United States said it had struck Iranian missiles, drone, and radar sites in southern Iran in response to what it described as an Iranian drone attack on the Singapore-flagged container ship called Ever-Lovely. Ever-Lovely, that's the name of the ship, in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran, in turn, said it had retaliated by striking U.S.-linked targets and accused Washington of violating the Memorandum of Understanding. So, in a statement, Bahrain Foreign Ministry said a number of Iranian drones had targeted the kingdom in a flagrant violation of its sovereignty, threatening the security of citizens and residents. It said Iran alone bore responsibility for undermining peace efforts and accused Tehran of pursuing a policy of destabilizing regional security. Okay, so this is so bizarre. This is so bizarre because nobody, like, there was no sign, like, nobody came out and, like, oh my God, there's an explosion. Like, this is the weakest response by the Islamic Republic yet. This has been so weak that I think it's even possible that, like, I'm half joking, okay, that the IRGC contacted Bahrain here, like, hey, can you just condemn us and say we attacked you?
I don't think that's a joke. I think that could have happened. I don't know. Just say ouch. Say ouch. I'm not gonna punch you, but say oh my God, ouch.
Yeah. So maybe the IRGC contacted Bahrain and say, hey, listen, you have two choices. Either we actually attack you and then you condemn us, or you just do a fake ouch and say, like, condemn us without getting attacked. This way we get to and this way we get to like start having an understanding, and then we could pretend that we are responding to our followers without actually responding to you. It is possible. It is possible that Bahrain is saying like, okay, fine. If this means that you're not going to attack me, I will fake ouch every time you need. Just don't attack me. So it might be the case. Because
I want to see where they lit a firecracker in a corner. Oh, there's the stain. You see that? You see that little brown mark in that corner, little black mark? Yeah. Oh my God, that's where it hit.
Yeah. Oh my God. This is.
It's like, wait, this smells like spray paint. What do you mean you got hit here? Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that.
Oh yeah. Look at that. Actually, Brandon is making a great point. They said, this is a number of Iranian drones. Look at the statement. Actually, look. They said that in a statement, Bahraini Foreign Ministry said a number of Iranian drones had targeted. So targeted means that nothing hit, probably. Like they didn't say they hit us. They said they just targeted us. So nothing, nothing landed. Nothing hit anything. Ooh,
thank you for your attention to detail. Language, it's very important to check the details. Thank you.
Yeah, so maybe they didn't even send any drones. They're like, oh, maybe they called Bahrain. You're like, listen, we have our guns pointing at your direction. Okay, go condemn us. We're not gonna shoot anything. We're just targeting you.
No, it's like I said. Look, maybe they missed and hit the water. Like I said.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Oh my God, this is so ridiculous. Okay, let's continue.
Did not identify the targets or say where they were located, but Bahrain's foreign ministry says several drones targeted its territory early this morning. The country says the incident endangered civilians and that Iran is responsible for undermining peace efforts by continuing attacks. Despite this, the fragile ceasefire still seems to be holding. White House officials were expecting flare-ups like this, but are still committed to the deal, at least for now, guys.
All right.
Thanks, Rebecca.
Thank you, Rebecca. Let's turn now.
Okay, let's go over here. This is the next part that they were. Let's turn now. I think they're turning to this. This is the part where they talk about. Wait, hey, let's see what they talk about the targets. Probably.
All right. Now to this in the Middle East, where we saw retaliatory U.S. strikes on Iran yesterday.
That's right.
No, wait, they're talking about the same thing in another segment. But I want to show you this one, the audio. Here. This is new.
Middle East as Tehran renews attacks on ships that are trying to cross the Strait of Hormuz.
Fox Business reporter Lauren Simonetti has been tracking movement all along the critical waterway.
Lauren joins us now with the latest. Good morning, Lauren.
Good morning, guys. All right, more incidents in the Strait of Hormuz today. Traffic still flowing, but more slowly. You had 34 vessels cross yesterday, 10 today. That's according to the maritime tracker Kepler. The UK Maritime Authority is reporting that another ship was just struck by an unidentified projectile in the strait. My sources say it's a crude tanker. It's called the Kihu. It was heading to Fujairah.
Wait, this is new. Another one. Oh my God, this is a new one. Oh
This is not the Ever Lovely.
Yeah, this is not Ever Lovely. I thought they're going to talk about the same one. This is another one. Okay, let me go back a little bit.
Lauren.
Good morning, guys. All right, more incidents in the Strait of Hormuz today. Traffic still flowing, but more slowly. You had 34 vessels cross yesterday, 10 today. That's according to the maritime tracker Kepler. The UK Maritime Authority is reporting that another ship was just struck by an unidentified projectile in the strait. My sources say it's a crude tanker. It's called the Kihu. It was heading to Fujairah with Qatari oil on board. Look, guys, Iran is trying to show it has leverage. It wants to control the Strait of Hormuz, saying any passage through routes outside the framework designated by the Persian Gulf Strait Authority will not be covered by safe passage guarantees. They want ships to coordinate with them and, guys, very likely pay them. These are the warnings they're sending to ships looking to cross. Listen now to audio. This was sent to me by a ship owner. Listen to this.
You are approaching the Strait of Hormuz. You are ordered to leave this area immediately. You must alter course right now and go to the north of Larak Island. You are in range of my missile and maybe fire on you. Over.
Maybe he's thinking it out loud, like he's like, maybe I'll shoot at you. I don't know, maybe I will, maybe I won't.
He's mulling it over.
He was actually thinking about it out loud, and like he was considering it as he's speaking. Let me go back here. This guy's hilarious. Hold on.
You are ordered to leave this area immediately. You must alter course right now and go to the north of Larak Island. You are in range of my missile and maybe fire on you. Over.
Maybe fire on you. Oh my god, this is fantastic. So wait, Larak Island is this one. Okay, so let me actually go over here. Look at this map. This tiny little dot over here, that's the Larak Island. So the IRGC gets pissed off when the ships go down this path, right? So close to Oman. They're like, in the southern. So this is the Strait of Hormuz. This is Oman over here. And the Islamic Republic is, you have to come all the way north here. You see that? In this big island over here, this is Qesh. Okay, this is the biggest island in the Persian Gulf. This tiny island over here, that's Larak Island. So the Islamic Republic wants to make it so that the waterway between these two over here, they wanted to make that the toll booth, right? So they want the ships to come the northern parts of the Strait of Hormuz to go in between here, and basically everybody should go in between here. And they get really pissed off when ships go down this path, the southern part, and they're like, they come when they see ships going down this path, they send people here, and they threaten them like, don't you dare! You have to come up here. You have to come close to Iran. That's what they want.
It's like a dodgy alley putting you in. No, come here through this alley over here where I can mug you.
Like, can you come, please? Yeah, it's basically like a mugger, but like, can you come to the dark alley so I could mug you here? Don't go over there. Don't go under the lights over there. Come over here. Yes, exactly. Okay, let's see what is here.
The north is where Iran controls, and this verbal warning escalated with Iran's drone attack on the ever-lovely vessel on Thursday. Of course, President Trump called that a ceasefire violation, and the U.S. struck Iran on Friday for it. The U.S. is sending the message. Number one, you don't break a ceasefire, and number two, you do not control an international waterway, guys.
All right. So, Lauren, you said that we've had 10 ships pass through the Strait of Hormuz today. Does that mean there will be more later today, or is it really a dramatic of a decrease from 34 to 10?
Wouldn't call it dramatic at all. The numbers constantly change. Yes, they will increase. And then when they can confirm just how a ship crossed, did it have its signals on or off, the numbers are constantly changing. I can tell you some ships have turned around. They've decided maybe we shouldn't go for this today. Then you have the insurance providers. They're looking at this situation and they're saying, well, what are we going to charge for this passage now? I just spoke with CENTCOM, and CENTCOM says the U.S. Navy is now helping to bulk up the southern route of the Strait of Hormuz, the one near Iran. They're letting ships go in both directions. So look, obviously, vessels want to get out, especially the ones that have been stuck for months in the Persian Gulf. The crews are done, right? Everybody wants to get out. But you also have commerce. You have the global economy. You want ships buzzing both ways, full of oil, full of, cargo for the economy. So we do want to return this to normal so you can't have these provocations by Iran.
All right. Lauren Simonetti.
All right, let's go to Lebanon. Marco came out and had this speech.
Can I make a comment on the last one there? Marco was also saying we can't have people putting the tolls on international waterways, because what if someone does the same thing in Malacca? What if someone does the same thing in Yemen? You understand that they have like on the Horn of Africa. What if everybody starts saying, no, you have to go down this route? Marco Rubio was very specifically against what the IRGC is trying to do when they're trying to establish a route that everybody has to take. I just wanted to point that out Go Marco Rubio. Love that guy.
Go Marco. Yeah, love that guy. Love that guy. Well, now let's actually go to Marco because he's speaking over here. This is a very historic thing that is happening here. Look at this. The flags of Israel and Lebanon and United States next to each other. This is big deal. This could either be the beginning of a peace around the northern borders of Israel or the beginning of a new civil war within Lebanon, or both, actually, now that I think about it. But yeah, you could actually have civil war in Lebanon, but peace for Israel. We might even get that. But let's actually see what Marco is saying about this deal.
In their affairs of countries trying to use the country as a launch pad for attacks. And this is not what the people of Lebanon want. And that's not what they deserve. What they deserve to have is what they once had, and of which there is recent history of, and that is a prosperous and peaceful country, a diverse country where people of different backgrounds were able to live and coexist side by side, and in many ways was the envy of the region and of the world. And it will take a lot of work and some time to get back to that point. But we believe today is the first step in that journey. And the first step is sometimes the hardest step, but it's the one we're taking together today. Obviously, the people of Israel deserve to live in peace and security. The people of northern Israel in particular, who have been targeted repeatedly by terrorist attacks launched from the territory of Lebanon, but not by the Lebanese people, not by the Lebanese government, but by an outside actor who has sought to use that territory to target innocent civilians who have been unable to live in these places for a long time. Every time a siren goes off, you have to stop your schoolwork. You have to wake up. You have to stop going to work, and you have to run into a bunker or a basement and protect yourself. So as I said today, as I told all the parties here today, it's the beginning of the beginning. There's a lot of work ahead. We don't in any way underestimate the difficulty of the task ahead, but we understand the importance of it, how vital it is. And we are honored to have played a part in bringing this together. I want to specifically recognize all of the representatives here from both sides. The ambassador from Lebanon to the United States is a phenomenal ambassador who I've known for a while, we even share a common background here in the United States, coming from we have a Florida ties, and so we're very grateful for all the work she's put in. Obviously, Ambassador Leiter and his team and the work they've done here today. Everyone, all the team that you see assembled here today, including the support we got from the Department of War in these conversations. Our ambassador to Lebanon has done a great job, and we're so honored he's here with us today. And our team here, led by Dan Holler, our counselor, our team here at the State Department, did a phenomenal job. If people want to see the value of professional diplomatic work and of diplomacy, that's what the team here has put together. And I'm very proud of what we've done here at this department in bringing this about. As I said, today is the first step. This first step sometimes is the hardest one, but it's an important one and the one we've taken together. And we're very grateful that this has come about and that the timing is such that all of you could cover it and report it back. And hopefully we'll have many more of these conversations and make real and tangible progress so that the people of both of these countries can be hopeful about their future, a future of peace, a future of prosperity, a future of mutual coexistence in a way that's beneficial to the men and women and children, including those not yet born, who deserve what all people deserve, and that is the right to live in their country without fear of harm, without fear of war, without fear of conflict. And that's what we hope to be able to facilitate and achieve. And today we've taken the first step in what will be a difficult journey, without a doubt, but an important and an essential and a necessary one. And we're very proud to be a part of it. Thank you for covering it. And now I think we will formalize what our conversations here have been about.
Thank you. On behalf of President Aoun and Prime Minister Salam, we would like to thank President Trump, Secretary Rubio, Councillor Holler, Ambassador Issa, and the U.S. government team for hosting and facilitating these historic talks in Washington, D.C. The trilateral framework we signed today is a first step on the road to restoring Lebanese sovereignty and territorial integrity, securing a permanent and final cessation of hostilities, enabling our people to go back to their land, and allowing all Lebanese to live in peace, security, and prosperity. This was a long and difficult meeting. We are grateful to the hosts and to the two delegations for their cooperation during these talks. This milestone was made possible through the leadership of President Aoun, the tenacity of Prime Minister Salam, the resilience of Ambassador Karam, and the patriotism of the Lebanese armed forces. Thank you all so much.
Your Excellencies, Ambassadors, Mr. Secretary, I want to first express my appreciation to Secretary Rubio and his incredible team. Under his leadership, we've advanced President Trump's vision of peace and security, of peace through strength. We've advanced a historical and important process forward. I want to express my deepest appreciation to my colleagues, Dr. Dresden of the NSA, our foreign ministry personnel, our IDF officers, who worked alongside, together with me, under the leadership and guidance of Prime Minister Netanyahu and his team back in Jerusalem. I also want to thank Her Excellency, Ambassador Hamadi, for being a very tough negotiator. You and your team set an example for patriotism to your country. You fight like a lioness, Miss Ambassador. In my opening remarks 4 days ago, I expressed concern that this train was running off the tracks, that Iran and its proxies wanted a train wreck. Well, with a lot of hard work under your leadership, Dan, together with Secretary Rubio and his entire staff, indefatigable team, we've put the train back on the tracks, and it's running in the right direction. Final destination, peace between our two countries. Real peace, where both countries will live in security, where Israel's and Lebanon's sovereignty will be respected, honored, and protected. In this performance-based trilateral framework agreement, Iran is out, Hezbollah is out, and the road to peace between Israel and Lebanon is in. This would not have been possible without the resilience of the people of Israel, and especially the residents of our northern Galilee, who have remained resolute in the face of Hezbollah terror. And last but not least, I want to thank the real heroes who have made this possible, the men and women of the IDF, who selflessly defend Israel, many of whom have given their lives in the battle against Iran and its proxies. I thank God for the privilege of representing the people of Israel and to sign this document on their behalf. This week's Torah portion, the Bible portion, in synagogues all across the world, tells of a false prophet by the name of Bilam, who came to curse, but ended up blessing. May we together turn the curses of war into blessings of peace. God bless Israel. May God bless Lebanon. May God bless the United States of America and all those who pursue peace. Thank you.
I like the fact that the Lebanese side is being represented by a hijabless woman. That's what I like.
Yeah, that's nice.
Ooh, Lebanon is signing an agreement with a Jewish man with a kippah on. That is taboo. Oh my God, this is gonna cause a lot of butthurt in Lebanon. But I mean, most Lebanese people love this. The fucking Hezbollah.
The 18%, I think it's 18% that support Hezbollah. Like, I got some numbers here if you want to talk about that later.
Really? You have numbers? How many, what percentage of Lebanon?
Okay, so I have here that overwhelmingly people oppose Hezbollah. Even among the Shia, there's like almost a 27% against it among Shia, which is surprising. Wow. 27% against, like, they want to be Shia, but they don't want to be IRGC Shia. They don't want to be Hezbollah Shia. They want to be another kind, which is, you know what, if you're going to do it, better that way, right? But there's a 92% of Christians are against Hezbollah. I don't know what the other 8 are doing. I don't think they would like support, but maybe they're ambivalent. Not sure about that. 89% of Jews, Sunnis, 87% against. I think all these other numbers, they would, kind of unite into the support that they have, because there's 2% in the air, so it's 21% versus 79%. That's the 100, right? And that 21 is support. Only 18 is support. There's 2 that's in the air. And the ones in Shia, there's 27% that are against Hezbollah. So it's a very small, not very small, 18% is significant if you look at their total population. But it shows that the will of the people is against Hezbollah. Like, Hezbollah doesn't speak for Lebanon any more than the IRGC speaks for Iran.
Right. Hezbollah loves using this tiny Christian support that it has, brags about it a lot. Like, they bring them out so much. Like, oh, look, even Christians support us in Lebanon. But they're a tiny minority anyways. We did get a super chat from somebody talking about this. Justin is saying this takes Hezbollah off the negotiating table. Well, not quite, because Hezbollah still has the biggest army in Lebanon by a huge margin, like huge margin. So this is not over. Like, they haven't ever been on the negotiating table. So here's the thing. Hezbollah has never been on the negotiating table because they say they refuse to negotiate with Zionists. Hezbollah's understanding is that the only thing you do with Zionists is you kill them. You don't negotiate with them, which is the policy I think Zionists needs to have with Hezbollah. Right? You don't negotiate with Hezbollah. You basically, you kill Hezbollah. But yeah, so they have never been on the negotiating table. But they are relevant because their army is so much bigger than the Lebanese army, so much more powerful, because they have the Iranian people's oil. The reason why Hezbollah is so much more powerful than the Lebanese army is because the Islamic Republic gives them billions of dollars from the wealth of the Iranian people.
We saw some recruiting things. We saw that they insure some of the homes over there. We saw, on this program. That's why you gotta, you gotta have on your notifications, Liberty Politics, so you know what's up. Because you have shown that even in Iran, the IRGC recruits people to go over there. And I think in the discussion group, we talked about how they insure the homes of the people in Lebanon that are for against Israel.
More than Iraq. They build them. No. Look, they go beyond insuring them. So when Qasem Soleimani was alive, okay, he was responsible for building entire apartment complexes for Hezbollah people in Lebanon, like for free. Like, if you're Hezbollah, you get entire buildings, like units with like all the furniture and everything, with curtains even, right?
Oh, that's so sweet. Terror is so nice.
Yeah. So yeah, this is what you get to do when you steal the wealth of the Iranian people. You get to go and support terrorists, and you occupy 2 countries at the same time. You occupy Iran and you occupy Lebanon. You occupied Syria and Iraq to some degree as well, but mostly Iran and Lebanon.
So let me ask you something. While Lebanon was getting whole buildings constructed for them furnished, what was the Iranian people getting? Were they getting anything, or are they just getting, shortchanged, shafted, terrible economy, loss of water?
They were getting their resources of their country directed into Lebanon. That's what they were to Hezbollah. So, for example, when Israel attacks Lebanon and people in Hezbollah people lose their homes, Islamic Republic builds houses for them, builds apartments for them, and they get they get like free apartments, right? But in Iran, when after the attacks, after like Operation Epic Fury, people lost their apartments. They're getting nothing. They're getting nothing. Even if you're an Islamic Republic supporter, you get nothing. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just the anti-regime people that get nothing. Even the pro-regime people get nothing. That's how much the Republic loves Hezbollah.
Do you think that's a recruitment strategy? Hey, we won't rebuild your home here, but if you move to Lebanon, you get a free home.
Yeah. No, because they're fighting. Because the Hezbollah people are fighters for the Islamic Republic. The pro-regime Iranians inside Iran, they're kind of annoying to the regime. They're like, they're way too political, and they get on their nerves often, right?
No, but think about it. You're pro-regime, right? But your house, you live next to some of these darker big guys. Your house gets blasted because you lived in the same complex, within the walls of the same complex. You don't have a house. Your house is not getting rebuilt, but you're pro-regime. What are they going to tell you? Hey, you want a free house? How about you head to Lebanon? I think it could be like, it may be conspiracy theory.
No, it's not. It's more indirect than that. Like, it's just like, it's not like, if you want a free house, move to Lebanon. It's more like you give benefits to Hezbollah, and people will see that the benefits are there, so they would want to go there. Like, it's just more straightforward, and like, you don't even need to say that. Your life is shit. You want a better life? We pay you $1,000. So we already saw the posters. Like, we already showed the posters, right? In Iran, the poster said, like, I could bring up the posters in Iran. Should I bring it again? Here, let me find it. So this is not like a conspiracy. This is pretty direct. Like, you don't have to. You
don't need the tinfoil hat.
No, you don't need a tinfoil hat. Here's the posters inside Iran. For Iranian people to go fight for Hezbollah. So let me show you this video. This video, by the way, it deserves to go. So I will, first let me show you the video, and then I'll translate what the poster says. I want to make sure you see that it's inside Iran. This guy brings the camera here so you can see it's actually Iran. You can see that this is, you can see based on these stuff over here, that this is Iran. The cars, everything. Okay. So let's look at what the poster says and translate it to you guys, because guys, this is really good money. I know for a lot of you here, so if he says so monthly income, $1,000 a month. $1,000 a month is really good money. It gets you it gets you a lot. This is 1,000 USDs a month, right? You can have a really good life with $1,000 a month, right? It's actually high level income. So this is very tempting, especially given how shitty the economy is inside Iran. So let me actually go from the top. So this is Sepah Pasaran Enqilab Islami. So this is IRGC. You can see a Hezbollah logo up here, and you can see an IRGC logo on the top right. So Jazb Niru Barای Khadamat dar Lebanon dar Hezbollah, saying we're recruiting forces to serve in Lebanon in Hezbollah. And then, so here you can see there are 4 things here that tells you what the conditions are going to be. Here are the 3 responsibilities that you're going to have, and these 3 down here is what you're going to get, right? Oh no, the Sharait Umumi. Oh no, these are the conditions that you need to have. So if you want to be approved, first you need to be able-bodied. That's the number 1 over here. Number 2, it says that you need to be religious. You need to be
no fatties.
Yeah, so no fatties, able-bodied at the top. Then you need to be تعهد مذهبی عمیق الزامی. So it's mandatory for you to be very religious. And number 3, you need to be شجاعت انضباط و مسئولیت پذیری. You need to be brave, you need to be organized, and you need to accept responsibility. That's number 3. And number 4, توانایی فرمانبرداری و کار تیمی. You need to be able to take orders and do teamwork. That's the 4th condition, right? So these are the 4 conditions you need to have. What are your responsibilities? گشت و مراقبت میدانی. So you need to do guard. You need to be guarding things in the battlefield. And then what? Okay, so you need to be able to move messages, transfer messages, and prepare things. So you need to you could be a messenger boy. So you're either going to be a guard in the battlefield, or you're a messenger boy. نظارت محیطی و گزارش موارد. Or you need to be somebody who observes and reports suspicious activity. So these are the main responsibilities that you have. So
They have human beepers now because the other ones didn't work out so well.
Yeah, so exactly. I was thinking, like, why do you need to, like, do they not have phones? I guess phones are Zionist and they might blow up, or they might take so look at this, guys. One of the so you have three responsibilities. One is to keep guard. The second one is to transfer messages. That means that they're using humans. They can't use beepers. They can't use phones. They're using humans as messenger boys because they can't use technology to send message to each other, or else the Zionists will find out where they are. Interesting. So you need to be a messenger boy. You need to go from this guy's house to that guy's house and tell them what the message is. And then we have, so your monthly income down here is $1,000 a month, but you also get a place to live. See, you get a place to live. You're going to get food every day. They're going to feed you. And they're going to give you your weapons, all of the all the equipment. So all the equipment you need, they will be given to you. So you don't need to buy your own equipment. That's good.
So altogether, that's like 2,000, 3,000?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Like if you add food plus water plus apartment plus cash, and weapons are kind of expensive.
Yeah, but that's a one-time cost. And also, I think food and a place to live wouldn't cost that much over there. Like probably not more than $200 a month. Probably, I don't know. And then you also get a third thing. You get training. You get training, and you get the opportunity to climb the ranks.
You get some jihadi yoga.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Yep. Anyway, so yeah, this is a confirmation. Like, it's not like when they try to convince people to go fight for Hezbollah, like they don't have to go talk to people individually. They just put these ads out there in the mosques and around religious gatherings. They put it on social media, and then people need money, so they might go. I mean, they're getting a lot of people, right? Especially in mosques. They probably put these posters in the mosques a lot. All right, let's see how the Hezbollah people responded to this peace deal between Lebanon and Israel. So these are the pro-Hezbollah people in Lebanon. They were not happy. This was Beirut last night. So let's see what happened in Beirut last night. As you watch this video, see if you could find how many Lebanese flags you will find. Okay, because this is an interesting thing. Okay, these are pro-Hezbollah people, and they're angry that the Lebanese government is doing an agreement with Israel. Okay, so they're coming out in anger. So you can see that was a Hezbollah flag over there.
Burning tires.
So these yellow ones, they're Hezbollah flags.
Smoke-filled streets. Soldiers face.
Oh, look at that. That's an Islamic Republic flag over here. Okay.
Burning tires. Smoke-filled streets. Soldiers facing down angry crowds. Beirut erupted overnight, and the reason? A deal that Hezbollah says is a betrayal of everything Lebanon stands for. Late Friday night, the southern suburbs of Beirut, a Hezbollah stronghold, turned into a war zone. Motorcycle convoys tore through neighborhoods, protesters blocked roads to the international airport, and Lebanese soldiers, they were firing tear gas to take back the streets. This wasn't random unrest, this was a message. Here's what set it off. On June 26th, in Washington, D.C., Lebanon, Israel, and the United States signed what's being called the Trilateral Framework Agreement. On paper, it sounds like diplomacy. It lays out a plan for Lebanese state forces to take full control of the south, a phased Israeli military withdrawal, and a verified disarmament of non-state armed groups. That last part, that's aimed directly at Hezbollah. and Hezbollah didn't sign this deal. They weren't even at the table. So when word hit the streets, their supporters hit the streets right back.
Look at that. Not a single Lebanese flag. It's only I see the Islamic Republic flag in Lebanon. What the fuck that flag is doing in Lebanon? And we also
They don't represent Lebanon at all. They're like at 18%.
Right. Yeah, this is an invasion. This is an invasion of the Palestinian cause and the Islamic Republic of Lebanon. These people do not represent, wrong country. Like, what the fuck are you doing here?
Videos circulating on social media showed intersections swallowed by black smoke from burning tires. Masked demonstrators faced off nose to nose with soldiers. Chants echoed through Daihi, the heart of Hezbollah territory in Beirut, well into the early hours of Saturday morning. The road to Beirut's international...
Wait, I don't know if I saw one Lebanese flag.
Well into the early hours of Saturday morning. The road to
No, this is Islamic Republic
Beirut's
flag.
international...
I thought I saw a Turkey flag somewhere in there. I thought it was weird.
This is only yellows are Hezbollah. These are Islamic Republic.
I saw a red flag, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Of Saturday morning. The road to Beirut's international airport was shut down. Shut down. One of the busiest entry points in the country, blocked by protesters who say their government just sold them out.
Yeah, there's a red flag over there. I don't know what that one is.
Security forces eventually cleared the barricades, but the anger, that's not going anywhere. A Hezbollah-affiliated lawmaker didn't mince words, warning that enforcing this agreement could push Lebanon towards civil war. Lebanon...
Yeah, I knew, here's the thing. The Lebanese people, the ones who are anti-Hezbollah, they don't want to push too much against Hezbollah. You know why? Because they have trauma over the 15-year civil war that they had. Okay? And a lot of Lebanese people who hate Hezbollah, they're kind of terrified that if they piss off Hezbollah too much, this is going to start another 15-year civil war. Right? That's what they're worried about.
I mean, I understand that worry, and I think I know where it comes from. When you're talking about active conflict, if you have 18% that are going, let's say out of that 18%, you get 10% to just go actively into war, that's a problem. That's a big problem. Even if 90% are against it, just having 10% willing to like go out there and kill, go out there and blow stuff up, go out there and use munitions or like large artillery, it's a problem. Like the only benefit right now is the modern aspects. Like you have a lot of more modern ways to find them and see who is doing it than you did probably in the last 15-year war. What year was that? When did that happen?
That ended like 7 years after I was born. So in the night, okay, I think so 7 years. I was born 1983. Okay, hold on. When did the Lebanon Civil War end? So I was right, yeah. So 1990, because I was born in 1983. So 7 years after I was born, it ended in 1990. So it started in the 80s, finished, it started before, in the 70s, and then.
Okay. Though a civil war then would be very different from a civil war now. You still have some elements like guerrilla tactics. This is an insurgent war. It's not the same as open conflict, but it would be it's very different. Like it's not the same as attacking another country like Hezbollah does to Israel. And they might be more willing to go door to door and, go ground penetrate the radar so they can see whatever's under the ground. And like, if you go full, like, we're going to find your weapons caches and we're going to like find every one of you, it can be faster, but it can still be very, it can get very bloody.
Yeah. By the way, this is Naim Qassem. This is Nasrullah's replacement, the head of Hezbollah. Yeah. If you guys didn't know.
Is he showing off the shoe polish and on his forehead? Is that what that little black spot is?
I don't know if that is. It doesn't look like it. It might just be a birthmark or something.
He could just be old.
He could just be old. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, I don't know. Yeah.
Is a country still scarred by 15 years of civil conflict that ended in 1990. It is
Oh my God! They just said when I looked up, it just said it here. Okay, so 15 years that ended in 1990. They're scared. I just said what we were talking about.
Could push Lebanon towards civil war. Lebanon is a country still scarred by 15 years of civil conflict that ended in 1990. It is a country where armed factions and the state have coexisted in an uneasy, fragile balance for decades. This deal doesn't just ask Hezbollah to pull back, it asks them to disarm. And for millions of Lebanese who see Hezbollah as the only real resistance against Israel, that feels less like peace and more like surrender. As of Saturday morning, the protests haven't gone nationwide, but the situation is fluid, the divisions are deep, and the question hanging over Beirut right now is this: can a deal signed in Washington actually hold on the streets of Lebanon's south?
Okay. By the way, if it doesn't hold, can we just let Israel do what it does best? Can we just do that? Can we get out of Israel? Like, this is an experiment. We're gonna try it out, okay? And then when it fails, can we just get out of the way of Israel and just everybody accept that Israel is the solution? Guys, in the Middle East, the answer to everything is Israel. Okay, let them cook terrorists. Okay, so
What's the population there? Because they said millions who support. If it's 18%, how much does that break down to?
Wait, let me see. So there are only about 6 million there, right? Is it 6 million? Let me see. So that would make 1.2 million. Let me see how many people. What percentage of Lebanon supports Hezbollah?
I think it's 18.
It says for me it says 30 approximately. Where is your numbers more recent?
I specifically look for recent numbers and among the youth to check among the youth, but overall, what it said overall was around 8. It seems like it has gone down a lot.
Down, okay, yeah. Recently has gone down because of the horrible economic situation. So let's say, with Lebanese population being roughly 4 million, I got 5.8. Lebanese population at approximately 5.8. I'm getting different numbers based on different sources, which is weird. But let's say 1 million. 1 million support Hezbollah. Yeah.
Okay, no, because he said millions, and I think I don't know if it's that many.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, I think it was exaggerating. But Hezbollah is officially responding as well, saying that they refuse to disarm. This is going to go on forever.
The U.S. conducting new strikes on Iran in response to the regime's attack on a cargo ship in the Strait of Hormuz. This, as a peace deal, still hangs in the balance, and a critical part of the deal, ending Iranian support for terror proxies in the region.
Oh my God, look at this beautiful map. I like this. Okay, so these are the terror proxies. So you can see for Lebanon, we have Hezbollah. For Gaza, we have Hamas. For Iraq, we have Hashd al-Sha'bi, or the English name for this is Popular Mobilization Forces. This is the IRGC itself. You know, it is missing a lot. They should have.
Can I just point out how ugly the Hezbollah logo is? It looked like a mustard label.
By the way, look how much the Hezbollah logo looks like the IRGC logo. They both have an arm coming up and holding a gun. both of them, right?
They want to be like daddy.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cute. Yeah, there's two missing here. Two important ones are missing here. There's one in Afghanistan called Fatimiyun, and there's one in Pakistan called Zainabiyun. So those two are missing. And then we have another proxy group in Yemen, which is the Houthis.
That's not even a flag. That they just wrote a statement down. A terrible statement, but that's not a flag. That's just you wrote some stuff down. This is very lazy.
It's true. Their flag is the Houthi flag is just making their state. And actually, well, let me actually show you. Well, let me actually look at this last one. This is Al-Ashtar brigades in Bahrain. So that's important as well. Bahrain almost fell at some point. And then Saudi Arabia came and saved it. But yeah, the Houthi flag is so ugly. Have you seen it?
It's basically death to America, death to Israel, and I forget what the rest of it says, but it's basically stuff like that.
Yeah, but it's actually worse because of the design. I think the crime, I know it has like "cursed be upon the Jews" on it, but I think the real crime is the design.
It's so lazy.
Yeah, so it starts with Allahu Akbar in green at the top. Okay, so the greens are good, like good things. The red are bad things. The first time I saw the Houthi flag, I thought that is pixely, and I was looking for a higher quality, higher resolution version of it. But then I realized, like, no, they actually added spikes to these letters. I'm like, oh, this is not low resolution. They just actually added spikes to the letters.
They're so edgy.
I mean, this is literally edgy. So the green one, because it's a good thing, is in it says Allahu Akbar. So they put that in green. The bad things are in red. So this is death to America in red and spikes. And then they have death to Israel in spikes. And just to make sure, like the third one is interesting because they're like, oh, okay, they have a problem with Israel. Obviously, this is not an anti-Jewish thing, right? It's just Israel, right? But like, no, actually, let's make it very clear. So the fourth statement here is "Curse be upon the Jews." That's their fourth statement here. So they have Israel, death to Israel here, but they also have a statement here saying "Curse be upon the Jews," and then this one, Nasrul Islam, victory be on Islam.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's their flag.
Like there's another one that's wording, but it has a nice design to the wording. It has a nice flow to it. Like it's very branded. You're like, okay, that's the brand. It's the white and green one. Like, okay, you did something there. There's a little bit of work done to get the letters to look like that. This is so lazy.
They're so lazy.
The white and black, the red and green, that one.
I think like let's give them credit let's give the terrorists some credits. The only one that hasn't like a kind of okay design, is Hashd al-Shabi. Like it's kind of like artsy. So the Houthis are the worst design from the terrorist groups, but Hashd al-Shabi, do you agree? It's kind of like relatively to other ones.
It's more original. Like there's two originals, but one is just wording with like some design. Hashd al-Shabi, it's more original and it's not basically copy pasta. Hezbollah and Ashtar, they're just copying daddy. Yeah, I'm like you, daddy.
Copying daddy, I love that. Wait, hold on, let me show this. This is Hashd al-Shabi. This is relatively kind of like I can see like.
Oh wait, they copied Hamas. They see a little copy pasta over here on the top. What's that top green part? Is that the same thing Hamas has? I don't understand what those words mean.
Oh no, Jumhuriyat al-Iraq. That says Iraq Republic. So no, the Hamas one has the Shahadatain on, so it's a different text.
Is this just a font? Am I giving this type of writing too much credit? Is this just like a font that people use not for jihad? It's just like a stylish font, like Times New Roman. Is this like one of the Times New Romans they have?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I was giving the green ones too much credit then.
Yeah. But no, this red dots and this black text, they put some effort into it. So I think these are
A better marketing team.
better marketing team in Iraq, at least, right? Yeah, okay. IRGC is shit. Yeah. Hezbollah looks like IRGC. Yeah. To be fair, the Houthis are the poorest ones. So maybe they couldn't afford a good marketing department. And also, to be fair, Hashd al-Shabi, they designed their logo later than all of these people. So for example, how you see Disneyland in Tokyo is much better than Disneyland in LA, because the Disneyland in LA is old, right? The Disneyland in Tokyo, they had to build it like way later when technology was a lot better. So that's why it's better. So Hashd al-Shabi logo is more modern looking because it was designed like a lot later. That's why it looks better.
I'm so jealous. You got to go over there, didn't you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. That is amazing. Oh my God. I want to go.
Yeah. Tokyo is great. Tokyo has Disney Sea as well. You don't get Disney Sea anywhere else in the world. Anyways, let's go back. How do we get from terrorist logo designs to Disney Sea in Tokyo?
I apologize. I was monkeying around. It's my bad.
Oh my God. All right, let's go. Let's get back to this.
The cargo ship in the Strait of Hormuz. This, as a peace deal, still hangs in the balance, and a critical part of the deal, ending Iranian support for terror proxies in the region. But Hezbollah refuses to disarm, and its leader saying the resistance will continue. With that, let's bring in retired Vice Admiral and Navy SEAL Robert Harward. He grew up in Iran and led U.S. invasions in Afghanistan, in Iraq. So great to see you this morning.
He speaks Persian, by the way. He speaks very fluent Persian.
Robert. So we've got two things going on here. We've got the fighting in Lebanon, and then we've got the Strait of Hormuz. Which is the biggest hang-up right now to the peace deal?
Ooh, that's a good question. Which one is the biggest hang-up? Strait of Hormuz, I would say. I would both say, like, which one do you think is a big? They both are a huge obstacle to the negotiation taking place. I think if I had to rank, the enriched uranium would be the greatest obstacle. Second, the Strait of Hormuz. Third, Hezbollah. Would that be your ranking?
I put the uranium at the bottom because no one else can access it and it's hard to access. I will put at the top the Strait, and the second one Hezbollah because it's active. Like, Hezbollah is actively doing stuff. The Strait is actively doing stuff. The uranium is just kind of stuck there.
Okay, interesting. Let's see what he says.
Well, both of them, without a doubt. Iran's going to push for support of their surrogates. They're going to continue to challenge the Straits of Hormuz. And I applaud the administration for taking this military action. And it's a good first step, but they need to flip the coin even a little bit more. I would suggest, I hope, they've reconstituted the blockade, because the economic strangulation had a significant impact as these military.
Yes. Bring back the blockade. Exactly. I mean, they can't because they want the oil prices down and they want to reduce the tensions. But it's kind of disappointing that the Islamic Republic is saying the strait is closed, but we would remove the blockade. It is disappointing, but I understand why they have to do it, but it is disappointing.
I'd like to point out that there is changes already happening with that. There's indications that the super tankers, there's a limited number of oil tankers, and of those, even less are super tankers. And there's some indications. I heard this from, I think it was from Ian, from the discussion group, that the super tankers may just skip completely the Persian Gulf, because for insurance, for their purposes, that much oil stuck in one place that you're transporting, it's just easier to go to the US, go to Alaska, go to other places and not have to worry about this. The insurance cost on that much oil has gone up so much that they might just never return. And that's something that Saudis are going to look at. That's something that everybody in the Persian Gulf is going to look at. Like, the longer this goes, the more the market will adapt away from having this within, like, this is as a consideration within their risk assessment. They're going to make, markets are going to do what markets do, and they're going to adjust to this new reality that it's too long that this has gone on, and other places are adapting to the flow.
So it would just be like as if they would just treat that oil as cheaper, right? That's all.
Yes.
Yes, because if its insurance costs and other costs associated with that oil is lower, it would just be considered cheaper oil. That's what it would be.
The economic strangulation had a significant impact, as these military operations are. So again, on both fronts, the Straits and the situation in Israel, the regime is not going to work with this administration to achieve those objectives.
Vice President Vance yesterday said that with oil down to $72 a barrel, the United States wins either way, and we should focus on just keeping the Strait open. Does that make sense to you?
Of course. Yes, the Straits, not just for the world economy, but for all those ships that were trapped, those crews that had been in there. I believe that was the administration's strategy: accommodate Iran with the negotiations so they could get that flow through the Straits. Now with the ceasefire violated, that's at risk. So the Navy needs to continue their operations to ensure those ships flow. And again, it may have an impact on the oil prices, but at the end of the day, that economic strangulation of the blockade is just as significant, and they need to put all of that on the table to ensure they're in a position of strength in these negotiations.
Well, it's probably even more significant certainly for Iran than it is for the United States. Turning to Lebanon, though, we've heard rumors of a possible peace deal between Lebanon and Israel, but the problem really isn't Lebanon, it's Hezbollah. Do you have any faith that Hezbollah will operate in good faith in terms of disarming and stopping lobbing missiles into Israel?
What do you think he's going to say? Yeah, Hezbollah is going to work in good faith? Like, of course, why are you asking a question that you know the answer to?
It's Hezbollah. Do you have any faith that Hezbollah will operate in good faith in terms of disarming and stopping lobbing missiles into Israel?
It's clear the government of Lebanon wants Hezbollah gone as well. So to show you.
Wait, did he ask if Hezbollah is going to work in good faith or the Lebanese government? I missed that, sorry.
Israel, but the problem really isn't Lebanon, it's Hezbollah. Do you have any faith that Hezbollah will operate in good faith in terms of disarming?
You guys, what do you guys think terrorists is going to terrorize?
And stopping lobbing missiles into Israel?
It's clear the government of Lebanon wants Hezbollah gone as well. So to show unity of effort with the government and Israel adds not only additional pressure on Hezbollah, but on the Iranians as well. And it shows that everyone's not going to tolerate the regime supporting their surrogates, not just in Lebanon, but down in Yemen and other locations as well. So I think it's a very positive move along with the military strikes, but let's leverage that opportunity to enhance our position economically as well by continuing the economic starvation. So again, all positive moves illustrating where this needs to go at the end of the day, as Israel has their own national security interest at hand here, as well as U.S. national interests.
Vice Admiral, thank you very much for joining us.
Good to be with you.
All right, let me go to some Durkheim videos from inside Iran. We haven't had that for a while. So let me okay, this is actually interesting. Okay, let's do some Durkheim videos.
I was going to ask, I don't know if it's appropriate, but you might want to check out the super chats. I don't know if any have accumulated.
Oh, no, we just have Rogers. Thank you so much for becoming a member. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And
thank you, Rogers.
Thank you, Rogers. Thank you for being part of our group. Welcome to our family. Ew, that's cringe. Welcome to our group, not I don't know if that's a good idea to call it family. But anyways, let's watch this. Okay, so guys, these are, I have a few videos because I try to keep you updated of what's happening inside Iran, and everything that shows the internal conflict, and different positions of different people within the Islamic Republic, so that you keep up to date, because a lot of you who have been following this channel have become a lot more aware of the different segments of the Islamic Republic, and we don't want to let all of that go to waste, because you guys have a base of knowledge here that most people don't have. So I think keeping every once in a while me giving you some updates regarding the internal drama of the Islamic Republic, I think that's very helpful for us to continue that foundation that we have built here. Oh, Amir saying, Armin, for some of us it is family. Aw, is it really? Thank you, Amir, for saying that. I appreciate you saying that. That is sweet. You guys are awesome. Anyway, so let me play some of this. I have this video, and then I have this video, and then I have this video, and I'll tell you. I wouldn't just translate the message. I will also want to give you the politics behind it, so you have a better understanding compared to anyone else. Right?
A little bit of the context.
Yes, exactly. So let me remember what this idiot was saying.
موسیقی جریان قرآنی داره. من قبلا هم این رو به یه مناسبتی عرض کردم. به نظرتون رهبر معظم انقلاب نمیتونست این کارو بکنه؟ ایشان نمیتوانستن این کارو بکنن که اصلا قبل از این که این تفاهم امضا بشه با یه پیامی نشون میدادن که نباید این کار انجام بشه.
Oh, okay. So he's saying, don't you think the supreme leader, Mujtaba, could have just stopped the MOU? Do you think he didn't have the ability? Don't you think that before the MOU was signed, he couldn't just come out and say that this shouldn't be signed? So guys, for context, Mujtaba Khamenei, the Ayatollah supreme leader of the Islamic Republic, he, before the MOU between the Islamic Republic and the United States was signed, he came out and endorsed the negotiating team on Ghalibaf, which made a lot of people think that he is for the MOU. And then after the MOU was signed, he came out with a statement saying that he was fundamentally against the MOU, which made me call him a fucking coward, because Mujtaba didn't want to be responsible for he wanted the MOU to get signed, so he didn't want to be responsible for it not to get signed. But he also doesn't want to lose credibility for backing the MOU, this embarrassing MOU. So after it was already done with, he came out and moved against it, right? So he's asking, why didn't our supreme leader came out and say anything against the MOU before, right?
What did he say before? That it was the will of the people or something? I don't know. Like, what was he made some allusion to? I don't remember exactly.
No, that was so before he just said, I fully endorse the negotiating team, like meaning Ghalibaf.
Oh,
right?
okay. No.
After he came out and said, I was against the MOU, but because it was the will of the people, I give permission to Pezeshkian. Well, he didn't say, yeah, he's basically said, because it was the president, I accepted it. I give permission, even though it was fundamentally against it, right? So somebody in the chat is actually saying something I was going to say. This guy is going to come and say that our supreme leader is playing 4D, 14D checkers or chess or whatever, right? That's what he's saying. Yeah, this is like, guys, this is like a 5D chess move here, and he's going to explain. So why didn't our supreme leader come out and say anything, right?
نمیشد، قاعدتا میشد. چرا نکردن این کار؟
Like he could have done it. So why didn't he do it? Why didn't he come out and say he's against it before?
این کار دقیقاً کاری بوده که پیغمبر انجام میداده، خودش رو یک مقداری خوشباور نشون میداده، به قول معروف پیست میداده که جریان منافقین بریزه بیرون.
Ooh, guys, so he's saying that this is exactly what Prophet Muhammad did when he was alive. he sometimes would come out and he would act like he's for something, even though he was against it, so that the enemies will come and show themselves, right? So he knew something was a good idea, but Prophet Muhammad, he would sometimes pretend that he's for something so that the people who are for this bad idea will come out and expose themselves, right? So let's continue.
And you predicted this.
Yeah.
I remember you specifically saying, "Oh no, they're gonna say Muhammad did this when they want to flip the switch. This is what they're gonna say," and here they are.
Yeah. So Muhammad also did this trickery apparently to see, like, let me see, like, I'm gonna say I'm for it to see who else is, so that the people who are for it will come out and show themselves.
و بعد جریان منافقین رو نشون میدن که اینها بر اساس اصول عمل نمیکنن.
To show everybody that, look, these are the people who are not abiding by our principles. So, guys, without saying it, he's saying that Ghalibaf, Arakshi, and Pezeshkian are the munafiqeen, the hypocrite enemies who pretend to be Muslim, right? But they're not. And Mujtaba Khamenei is exposing them. That's what he's suggesting.
گرچه آدم‌های حالا بهتون اینم بحثو خواهم گفت، آدم‌های بدی این مذاکره کنندگان نیستن، از سر دلسوزی انجام دادن، ولی اینا وصل به یک شبکه‌ای هستن که اونا نه، اونا دیگه میرسه حتی به جریان یهود هم میرسه.
So he's saying, let me tell you actually something. I don't mean that the negotiating team are the bad people, okay? The negotiating team are not bad people, but they're connected to this network. So he's trying to he's trying to not get into too much trouble by saying this. Why is this not moving back here?
جریان یعنی هم میرسه، یعنی این جریان عین جریان قرآن میرسه به جریان عین جریان این میرسه. اونا اصل به یک شبکه‌ای هستن که اونا نه، اونا دیگه میرسه حتی به جریان یهود هم میرسه.
Oh, he's saying, okay, so he's saying like the negotiating team are not bad people. They're doing this from the sympathy. From a position of sympathy with these negotiations that they're doing, but they're connecting to this network that if you go all the way, it's connected to the Jewish network. Like it's that bad that it's connected to the Jewish network. So he's saying the negotiating team might be meaning well, but their network is connected to the Jewish network. Right?
یعنی این جریان عین جریان قرآن میرسه به جریان فی قلوبهم مرض، بعد میرسه به جریان منافقین، میرسه به مرض و علی النفاق، فوق تخصص نفاق و پشت سرش رسانه ها و جریان زیرزمینی یهود.
So he's saying, like, just like the Quran, this network is connected to that network, and then to a most advanced, then to another network that is the most advanced version of our enemies, and then it keeps going and going, and then it goes underground to the underground Jewish network. So if you keep going, if you keep connecting the dots of our negotiating team, eventually it will go to the underground Jewish network.
که من همینجا تو پرانتز این عرض بکنم، این پیام به شدت برای امام المسلمین خطرناکه.
And I open the parentheses here. This movement is very dangerous for our supreme leader.
چون که همه فهمیه ریخت بیرون همه رو.
Because our supreme leader managed to expose everybody. He just put it all out there. Our supreme leader is basically exposing everybody by doing this.
بعد ممکن
Yeah, guys, he's not talking about the Jewish tunnels in New York City. That's not what he's referring to.
This is different tunnels.
That's yes. Guys, this whole this whole Strait of Hormuz, Ghalibaf situation is somehow connected to the Jewish tunnels in New York. It all comes from there, okay? It all started from there.
واقعا همونجوری که امام شهید گفتن توطئه کودتایی ممکنه.
Oh, now he's talking about Ali Khamenei. He's saying that just like Ali Khamenei, the former supreme leader, our martyred supreme lord said that there has been a conspiracy behind all of this.
وجود داشته باشه و بعد واقعا جان ایشون ممکنه در خطر باشه. کودتا یک
and there's a coup d'etat happening right now in Iran. Like He's basically saying there's a coup d'etat happening, there's a regime change happening, and Mujtaba Khamenei's life is in danger.
مفهوم داره. کودتا داخلیه.
Oh, he's saying the coup d'etat is happening from the inside. It's internal.
کودتا توسط دشمن انجام نمیشه. کاری که دشمن میکنه جنگه. اسمش کودتا نیست.
So he's saying this is internal. That's why we call it a coup d'etat. Our enemies, what our enemies are doing from outside, that is war. But what's happening internally is a coup d'etat.
بالاخره اتفاقی که افتاده این اتفاقی است که از لونه کشی داره میکشه بیرون.
And whatever is happening, the supreme leader is grabbing it from their hiding places, from inside their nest, and is dragging them out.
پیغمبر همین کارو میکرد. و منهم الذین یؤذون النبیانات وقتی.
So here's the thing. I showed this on the Persian channel, and on the Persian channel, I made a recommendation to these people. I was like, why don't you guys go and let's turn your 14D chess plan into a 14,000D chess plan. Okay, if this is you have a really good plan here going with exposing your enemies. So why not go commit to this and go all the way? Why not let your enemies topple the regime, bring Pahlavi back, make you all martyrs, and then you could then expose us even more. I mean, if you're because these people are losing and they're trying to act like their losses are basically a multi-D chess plan for exposing the enemies. So I'm like, expose us even more. And what you could show is let yourself be martyrs to show that you're on the path to Allah and Islam, and let Iran become prosperous and rich and free and secure, so that we focus on this life. So you could show that you died and you were for the afterlife and God, and we will use this as a lesson to everybody and show that your enemies are about wealth, they're about prosperity, they're about dunya, you're about akhirah, we're about dunya, we're living degenerate lives without hijab, without praying, and we're having fun in this world, not bothered with the afterlife. And then by you dying and becoming martyrs, and then us coming and rebuilding the country and focusing on wealth and prosperity and peace, you could show to the whole world that the degenerates that we are, that we focus on this life rather than the afterlife, and everybody would look at us and learn the lesson that you were on God's path and we were on the dunya path. We were on the path of this world.
So this is sarcasm. This he's being very, very sarcastic.
Yes, wasn't it obvious?
I think it was, but it's like, it's deep sarcasm. It's like he went long with it.
See, so guys, in Islam we have the dunya, which means this world life, and we have the akhirah, which is the afterlife. The Quran teaches you that you should give up the dunya, because the dunya is all illusions and worthless, and your life should be for the akhirah, for the afterlife, right? You should be fighting to make your afterlife better. Forget this world, right? And Omid in the chat is saying, yeah, give us the dunya. You fuckers can go be the martyrs. Yeah, that's a good one, Omid. I love that. Yeah. And you could show everybody how degenerate we are by focusing on the dunya. Just let us rule over Iran, and that would be expose us. That's how you expose us. Yeah, worldly degenerates. That's what we are. Anyways, here's another video. I forgot what this one is about.
Wait a minute. So at the end, his message is against Golubov and the wanting of the dunya, or the wanting of stability and money in this world, right?
No. That was my plan. That's the 14,000 chess plan. He's only 14D chess plan. He's saying that the Supreme Leader didn't go against the MOU so that the people who were with the Jews and are for the MOU could come out and expose themselves. I just went there. I just took his plan and I took it to a whole, because he's trying to act like he's just trying to act like their defeat is actually a win, and it's a 14D chess plan. And I'm like, well, if this is a win, why don't you win more? Why don't you?
I just missed the cutoff of where he ended it and you started with. You did okay. So he did 14D checkers. You did 1400D chess.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so let's go to the next one.
یکی از دلایلی که به نظر من کاملا موجه به نظر میرسه خب شما از مفاد مذاکرات توی شما اطلاع ندارید. من خبر دارم چی شده، خبر دارم که بزرگواری تو جلسه.
Okay, so he's saying that you guys over here, this is one of the street protests, right? Of pro-regime people every night coming out against the MOU, against the deal, against negotiations. And this is one of those gatherings. And this is also for Muharram. So the gatherings are bigger now. So now he's saying, like, guys, you guys don't know what's happening behind the scenes. I'm actually aware of what's happening in the National Security Council.
تهدید کرده که اگر اینی که من میگم نشه، اگر اونجوری نشه، اگر فلان نشه، اگر امضا نشه، اگر موافقت نشه، بعد دیگه نیستم.
So he's saying that there was somebody in the National Security Council who said that, oh, if we don't do negotiations, if we don't do a deal, if we don't do an MOU, then I'm going to quit. Okay? Who do you think, guys, who do you think he's talking about? Let me actually bring the boom boom sheet. Okay, so this is the Supreme Security Council. He's basically is trying to say that Moshtaba, the supreme leader, had no choice but to accept the MOU because somebody within the Supreme Security Council forced his hand. He said there was somebody who said that if we don't do this, if we don't sign the MOU, I'm going to quit. So he's not naming him, but who do you think he's talking about? Oh, you're muted.
Is it one of these two guys at the top here, or any one of the gray ones down here?
No, he's talking about Pezeshkian. Because remember,
okay, is Pezeshkian IRGC Joe Biden? Is he like very old and kind of like weird and crazy?
No.
I heard that from someone.
No, okay, so Pezeshkian is the president. Pezeshkian is the president, but he is the one that, you remember, guys, we had the news that he's threatened that he would resign, right?
They didn't let him.
They didn't let him. And he's saying that those threats of resignation was because he said, I would resign if you don't sign the deal, sign the MOU. That's what he was doing. So they say he's basically like everybody like in Iran knows that he's talking about Pezeshkian without actually naming him. So no, guys, Vahidi is not on the Security Council. Arakshi is not on the Security Council. Yeah, Pezeshkian. Yeah, Pezeshkian. Yeah, exactly, Pezeshkian. So President Pez Dispenser. Okay. Yeah, so they're saying that it's his fault. It's Pezeshkian's fault that the MOU was signed because as a member of the Supreme Security Council, he threatened the supreme leader that I'm just going to quit if you don't sign, if the MOU doesn't get signed. So
it's not that they didn't let him quit. It's that they signed. It's not, oh, you sign or I quit. Okay, I'll sign. It's not you sign or I'll quit. You know, I'm quitting. No, you're not allowed to quit. It's that they gave in to him.
Yes, they were so worried that like, oh no. So the supreme leader was like, I know the MOU is a bad idea. And this guy is saying, Pezeshkian said, like, you sign it or I'll quit. And the supreme fucking leader of the Islamic Republic was like, oh no, Pezeshkian is going to resign. Okay, we have no choice but to sign the MOU. So this retarded take is that the Islamic Republic was this close to defeating Israel, this close to defeating United States, this close to winning everything, but for the sake of Pezeshkian not resigning, he was like, okay, let's sign the MOU. That's what this guy is trying to say. Yeah, exactly. Neil Bunny saying everything is Pezeshkian's fault. Send him to Pakistan as punishment. So, yeah, okay. No, they yeah, everybody. So Neil Bunny is saying that because Pezeshkian has so much fun in Pakistan. Poor guy. But let me listen to the rest of this. Hold on. So he's saying this made our military commanders to be stuck at turning point. Like they had two options. They had two paths to take, and they couldn't. They had a hard time to pick one. Like guys, he's saying, guys, I'm saying this for the first time to you guys. Like nobody knows this. By the way, he's full of shit. I've heard this theory by so many people on Telegram and everywhere. He's saying that the situation that they found themselves in, like the people like the IRGC and the Supreme Leader, they're like, if we disagree with this big brother of ours, again, they're not naming him. He's such a coward. He's not even mentioning Pezeshkian. He's like, if we disagreed with him, if we said no to him, they would cause a political vacuum in the country. It's like if we basically went and didn't sign the MOU, there would be a political vacuum in the country. People would be anxious. It would cause division. This is such bullshit because the political vacuum was created by killing Ali Khamenei and some the highest officials within IRGC and Jalili and Shamkhani. Pezeshkian would not create a power vacuum. This guy is like full of shit. Like the power vacuum was already created. So he's saying the people within the IRGC had to choose between a bad and a worse option, and they chose a bad option, but to avoid the worse option. So this is this is a lie. They're just trying to protect IRGC and Supreme Leader for giving in to this really, embarrassing, humiliating MOU. Like the reason why this is ridiculous is because all of the goals and ideals of the revolution, of the Islamic Revolution, have now been pissed on. Right, the blood of the Supreme Leader, destroying Israel, liberating Jerusalem, humiliating the Americans. All of this has been put aside so that Pezeshkian doesn't resign. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, who believes this shit?
Well, you got corn and hay too.
Yeah, you got corn and hay. Yeah, so they're trying to deal with this level. So that's one coping, like this self-defense mechanism.
Well, they're fattening him up, like you said.
Yes, exactly. But here's another tactic, and I think this is a more clever tactic, right? So I'll tell you what he's saying, and let me know. I'll let you guys guess why this is a defense tactic when it comes to trying to recover from the humiliating MOU. Okay. You might not get it's actually a little bit complicated, so you might not get it, but I'll give you a chance. So I'll translate it and I'll see if you guys get it. Okay, so this is, let me give you context. This is Ashura, Shaba Ashura. This is the Ashura night. This is the day that Hussein was killed in Karbala. Hussein is like a very, very holy figure in Shia Islam, the grandson of Prophet Muhammad. This is the holiest day in Shia Islamic calendar, holiest day, right? Where you're supposed to remember, the Hussein's death, right? And
it's like Christmas or Passover or something like that.
yeah, but with a lot more death and crying and blood and stuff like that.
So like more like Holy Week when Jesus died.
Yes. So this Ashura, let me actually give you this video for context. They're allowing a lot of hijabless girls and I don't know, even femboys in. So let me show you this video. So a lot of hijabless women are allowed in this Ashura.
I love these videos.
Yeah, so this is for like, before I show you that video, I should show you this to see like this Ashura is not like other Ashuras from last year, other years. Yeah, so that's what they're letting in this Ashura into these Shia religious processions, which makes it kind of a bit different from previous years. And this is what this guy is complaining about. Okay.
Look, I would complain.
Yeah, so I'm scared. Yeah, like this is kind of weird. You know what? This is like, I don't want to say it, but for some people, I think hijab and even a face covering makes sense. You know, like the full niqab and everything.
Look at the face on the guy over, like above her. Look at the face on that guy. What the hell is going? What is this? Who let these guys in? Look at his face. He's giving him the side eye. That's literally the side eye.
Yeah. She paid money to get surgeries to look like this. Like she paid like a lot of money to have this done to her. But also they have femboys as well in Iran in Shia religious processions. So
that's full on lipstick. That's not like a little, humidification for the dryness. That's red.
Yeah. Anyway, so this guy doesn't like hijabless people showing up in Ashura. So let's see what he has to say.
من نباید شب عاشورا این حرفا رو بیام اینجا بزنم ولی به کی بزنیم این خیلی مهمه الان.
So he's saying in the night of Ashura I shouldn't be here saying these things, but who can I tell this to? This is very important.
طرف اومده جلوی گذر دسته عزاداری وایساده داره زنجیر میزنه همه مردمان نشستن عزاداری دارن میکنن.
Like in the middle of these mourning ceremonies where people coming here and they're hitting themselves with chain and people are crying and mourning in the middle of all of this.
همه مردمان نشستن عزاداری دارن میکنن بدون روسری و فلان و همه اینا با یه وضعیت.
And then a girl shows up without hijab, without anything, with it like in a very disgusting way, comes here.
بسیار زننده‌ای تردد.
With a very disgusting way, look, they come here.
میکنه انگار نه انگار. میشینن تو میدون دور هم.
And they just sit around in the square around each other during these nights, these holy nights.
میکشن تا صبح.
And they come and they smoke the shisha,
تو شهر تو کوچه بازار دارن میرن با
in the alleys, in the streets, these nights they just come out and they're hanging around with their hijab.
سگ میان میرن.
And they come out with their dogs. They're walking in the streets with their dogs.
بچه هیئتی‌ها بعد وارد بشن. کسی
And all of our boys, all of the hayat, the religious boys, when they have to come here, they have to go through all of that. Girls without hijab and people with their dogs.
فکر نیست. ما خودمون مردم اگر به فکر نباشیم وضعیت همینجوری میره جلو عادی میشه.
Like nobody's thinking about any of this, guys. If we keep going like this, all of this is going to get normalized. If we keep going this direction, everything will be normalized. Like we need to stop all of this.
صحنه‌هایی که آدم گاهی وقتا تو این شهر میبینه با عزاداری جور در نمیاد. حالا کی باید فکر کنه؟
Like none of these things that we're seeing, it doesn't match with more like the morning atmosphere they're supposed to hear. So what is the solution for all of this?
یه بخشش ماهایی تذکر بدیم.
Like we should solve this. We should basically warn them. We should talk to them.
از چه خجالت میکشیم؟ 4 روز دیگه بگذره، 5 سال دیگه، 6 سال دیگه، 10 سال دیگه.
So it's saying in 5 years, in 6 years, in 10 years, what will happen?
نمیشه تو این کوچه پس کوچه.
Like in 5, 6, 10 years, we wouldn't be able to even walk in these streets. We wouldn't even be able to walk here.
راه بری که حرمت اعضای سید و شهدا رو بر همه نگه دارن قدم همه هم سر چشم ولی این دلیل نمیشه که بگیم چون ما
Anyway, so he goes on complaining about the situation, but here's the thing. I know a lot of you are like, okay, this is just a Durka person upset about women showing up with hijab. Okay, Durka does, Durka, obviously, right? But I think actually this is part of a much more strategic plan, and this guy is actually part of a very smart plan. Do you want to guess what this is about? Anybody?
This is too many D's in. I don't know.
Okay. By the way, I have to give credit. I didn't come up with this. Kaveh told me what this is about, and he's so fucking right. They're losing against America and Israel, and they're being humiliated. So they need to switch attention against the Iranian people and internal affairs. They need to switch enemies. Okay? So they've been focusing too much about winning against the Americans and Israelis, and now that they're being humiliated, they need to redirect attentions to lack of hijab and women not wearing hijab and degenerate lives internally. Bring the enemy internally, the one that you could actually maybe do something about.
So what you're saying is they're trying to, hey, show yourself so we can follow you home and do some honor killings or something?
No. He's basically the religious people here. Okay, instead of being angry against them, focusing on the anger against Americans and Israelis, which we can seem not to be able to do much about, focus your anger on the increase of degeneracy inside Iran, so that we could actually satisfy you by doing something about that.
So they're letting them run wild so they can ring them in and say, hey, look, I did something. Like that?
No. The people, so they're not letting them, these are not the people who are letting them run wild. Okay? The Islamic Republic's lack of ability to enforce hijab laws has made it more women in Iran be able to wear hijab, not to wear hijab. But now he wants to take advantage of this situation that there is more hijabless women around to focus on this, to bring attention to this factor, because this is a more affordable thing to get angry over, because you could at least bring attention away from the MOU and the negotiations and the humiliation associated with that, and focus on let's switch the enemy and focus on this enemy. Yeah, so here Texas Troop is saying they can't win against America and Israel, but they can win against women not wearing hijab. Exactly.
I understand that part, but who does he think came up with this switch of enemy? Or is he just saying we should do that? We should switch enemies.
No, he's not talking about switching, because obviously if he said about switching, that would be too obvious. So he's not going to say that. There is now.
Oh, okay.
So the people in charge are now thinking that it's like, guys, if you want to rile people up, let's focus. Like it was fun while it lasted, pretending that we're winning against the Americans and Israelis. Now that we can see that now that more people are getting humiliated by the fact that we're not winning against them, let's actually focus on an enemy that we can handle, a weaker enemy, which is the unarmed Iranian people. Let's focus on that.
So he's the one that's switching enemies. He's the one that not switching, but we hate them, but we can handle this.
It's not this. This is a more general trend. This is an example of a more general trend that we're going to have more people going back to focusing on hijab and other things. Dogs, people walking dogs, women not wearing hijab, people living degenerate lives, boys and girls having too much fun with each other. We're going to, once you get disappointed on one battlefield, you're going to see more of a move on a different battlefield.
Okay, so in general, not this guy specifically, but in general, this is a new trend of focus.
Yeah, this is what happens usually when you realize that you suck at a battlefield that you cannot win, then you shift battlefields. This is just a mad dot. This is not like a very important, significant person. I'm just using this as an example.
Got it. Now I'm sometimes, you know what? I think in Walmart American and I'm trying to simplify it and it is deep. So sometimes I need a little like simplification to understand it. I'm just a monkey.
Yeah, that's okay. So let me actually tell you something regarding the economic value of people like him. Okay? This guy and people like him have economic value. Guys, I know that it's probably because my degree is in finance, but I look at everything and I always think that fundamentally it comes down to economics. Even when you see Durka jihadi people and you think it's ideological, I think ideology is a tool, but at the end of the day, everything comes down to economics. And I'm going to explain the two economic values of somebody like that and who is this person useful to and why these two are at odds with each other. We got a super chat, so let me read that one. Ellie, I think. Ellie, thank you so much for the super chat saying, Armin, you are super funny, man. Much love. Oh, well, thank you. Really? You think so?
Elite. That says Elite Zero.
Oh, Elite Zero. Sorry. I don't know where it starts at. Okay, so Elite Zero. Thank you, Elite Zero. Elite Zero 2K. Thank you so much. And yeah, am I? Okay, well, that's good. I think I'm usually funny when I'm not trying to be funny, and then whenever I try to be funny, I end up not being funny at all. So the key to being funny is don't try to be funny. Yes.
I think you succeed when you try sometimes.
Okay. Well, I'll try harder. Yeah, see, Texas Troop agrees with me, saying 100% Armin, economic translates to power. Yeah, I think all sorts of power is economical. All sorts of power is economical, because everything, if it's power, then it has value. If it has value, then it could be measured. If it could be measured, then it will enter the fields of economics. But let me actually tell you what are the two economic values of a jihadi Durka person like this, right? So the first one is to the bunyads of IRGC. So these are these trust funds. These are these giant funds of the IRGC where it invests in major industries within Iran. And IRGC, using these funds, controls all the major industries in Iran. And IRGC, because of that, gets very, very, very rich. And the military power of IRGC comes from its economic power. Its economic power comes from the grip it has over the resources of Iran, not just its oil and gas, but many other industries within Iran is completely controlled by IRGC, right? So given that all of these giant big industries but companies directed by the IRGC that it has monopoly over, the reason why it has such a tight grip over the economy, the reason why IRGC has such a tight grip over the economy is because it doesn't need to compete with two things. Those two things are the private sector in Iran and the global companies internationally, right? So the private sector in Iran is very, very weak by design, and none of the private sector markets could compete with the IRGC, which is government-owned businesses, IRGC-owned businesses. It's really hard to compete, and even if you're successful, they'll come and they force you to hand it over to them. And also, the IRGC's companies doesn't need to compete with international companies, giant international, for example, American companies, because they have closed their economy. Their isolationism, them being the enemy of the world, has closed down the economy of Iran, which makes it able for the only source of supply of these goods and services to be IRGC owned businesses. And without that competition, the IRGC has managed to create an empire. So this isolationism and this anti-Americanism and this anti-Israeli is not for the afterlife. It's not for the Mahdi. These are excuses. It's for money. It's for money and it's for power. And it has made the IRGC fucking rich, right?
This is like an oligarch model.
It's an oligarch model, and it's exactly. And it doesn't just close the Iran's economy, which eliminates the competition. It also makes militarizes the economy of Iran, because the point of this ideology is to defeat world Zionism and Western imperialism. So with that goal in mind, you need to continue working with Hezbollah and Hamas and Hashd-e-Shaabi and exporting the revolution, because the IRGC was fundamentally a military part of the Islamic Republic. There needs to be war for the justification of continuing to give the economy to IRGC. So the anti-Americanism and anti-Israeli nature of the DNA of the Islamic Republic makes the IRGC rich in three different ways. The isolation of it makes it that it could monopolize it, destroy the private market, so that it doesn't. The command economy nature of it means that it doesn't have to compete with the private market. One, it doesn't have to compete with the global markets. But three, also keeping it always at war with the world means that it could make it a war economy and constantly make IRGC the dominant force within the Islamic Republic. In these three ways, the IRGC maintains its grip on power. That's why opening the economy in Iran and allowing the private sector to grow and allowing foreign companies to come to Iran and ending the aggression of the Islamic Republic to the West and to Israel destroys the IRGC from the foundations of IRGC. That's what it does. And that's why the IRGC knows that any form of negotiation or peace deal or MOU, all of this, it goes against what makes the IRGC. And it needs to basically try to, maybe sometimes it needs to give into it to survive short term, but longer term, it always has to go against anything that could normalize the relationship of the regime in Iran with the rest of the world. It always has to do that. So the utility of people like this is that these people have mosques and Hosseinias that are government funded. And they get funded and they get orders from the top, and their agendas are set from the top. So when they come out and they talk against negotiations and they talk against the MOU, they don't have to understand all of this detail that I told you. It's just there's an understanding that the MOU is bad, but there's a financial motivation behind why the MOU should be seen bad. And they could, based on, sometimes they want to really go bad against them, like really go against the MOU, so they fund this activity more. Sometimes no, so they pull back. But the purpose of people like these mad dogs, or the religious vocalists, or all of these religious people who are loyal to the regime or loyal to the Paidari camp. So we have been talking about how the Paidari camp people who are very aggressively against the MOU, the IRGC sometimes finds them annoying. But to be fair, yes, because it's really hard to completely control them, but they're actually useful because the IRGC relies on them to come out and derail the negotiations when necessary. But sometimes they go overboard when the IRGC actually is trying to maybe appease a little bit. It's not really easy to completely control them. It's not like an on or off switch. It's more like we'll start funding the mosques and the Hosseinias more to increase this activity, or then the directive will change. Sometimes the directive will change, but it will take a little bit of while for the narrative in the streets to change based on what the IRGC wants. So So what I'm saying is that these people get funded and supported by the people within the IRGC that own major industries, and they're financially motivated to push that type of narrative. That's one. So that's the economic value of people like this. But then there's another economic. So that's one. There's another economic value that these people have, is that they are a suppression force. They're against protesters and anti-regime Iranians, right? So the Islamic Republic,
like a pressure release valve.
No, a pressure release valve are the so-called reformers.
Okay.
The reformer, yeah, but these are not pressure release. These are pressure, right, on the anti-regime Iranians, right? So the Islamic Republic knows that the vast majority of the Iranian people are against it. And it cannot use its forces all the time, everywhere, to push back against that. It does need these types of people, these pro-regime people, to be its eyes and ears, and also to be a threat to the anti-regime Iranians. They are basically a cheaper police. These are civilian police. Like, they're not officially police, but they're sympathetic to the regime. So they're a threat to people who are anti the regime, and there are way more in number than the armed forces of the regime itself. And their constant presence in the streets, even though they're a minority of the Iranian people, they're in numbers, they're still a lot higher than the armed forces of the regime. So they are a pressure, a constant pressure in every corner, in every alley, in every office, in every bank. You know that they exist and they're there. They are your Basiji. They call Baradar Basiji, like the Basiji boys here and everywhere. And it's not just the police that you need to be afraid of, it's these civilians that you also need to feel pressure of. They're going to come do Amr b'Ma'ruf and Nahi az Munkar on you. Like, they're basically going to do their religious duty to go against you if you're sinning. So this is part of the regime that is not officially part of the regime, but it is part of the regime, and it's a much more affordable part of the regime when it comes to suppressing the anti-regime Iranians. So that's another purpose that they have, and these are separate. They're connected.
When the ladies would show up and grab a girl because she doesn't have a hijab, was this these people?
That's an interesting question, because sometimes they are officially part of the government and they are not these people. If they come up with a card that says Niruy Intizami on it, they're official part of the government. But sometimes their people come with their own personal cars and do the same thing, and they're not officially part of the government. They just think that I am doing my religious duty in fighting back against these people, right?
Or these people call those people. Hey, I got one over here.
Okay, sometimes they work with sometimes they actually clash against each other, right? So sometimes the regime uses these people as an intimidation tactic, different part of the regime, and sometimes the regime arrests them for harassment. So it's weird, it's complicated, it's not that black and white. So they're used by the regime, and they're sometimes suppressed by the regime, and like, you're going to this is a time that we don't want to put too much pressure on hijabless girls, and these people are like, fucking hell, like, no, I'm gonna go and do it myself. And sometimes they actually get arrested for harassing hijabless girls. It's complicated, right? But the thing is that
it sounds like the relationship between Seattle police and Antifa. Like, sometimes they get along, sometimes they don't. They don't work directly together, but they kind of excuse each other sometimes. Sometimes they harass each other. It's kind of weird.
They have a love-hate relationship with each other, okay? So the regime needs them, but they also hate them because they get out of control, right? So, and for example, in this video that I just showed you, these two purposes go hand in hand. This switch is going from one purpose to another, right? So they're now that they're going with the MOU and everything is looking a lot more humiliating, they're trying to switch their purpose to the, focusing on the hijabless woman and stuff like that. So that's what you're witnessing over there. Right. All right. So I want to do something interesting. I'm going to go to Sam Harris and hold on. Let me see. Sam
Oh
Harris,
no.
I guess. Yeah, I want to see what the monkey thinks about this because somebody suggested this to us last time. And I think we should respond to him. Sam Harris is very, very much anti-President Trump. And he thinks that President Trump has screwed up bigly when it comes to this MOU. So I want to see what you guys and the monkey thinks about this, right? So
You can tell already, right?
You're angry already? Okay. So let me start playing this and we'll respond to it. And guys, let me know
before we get to the
as we go through this, you write your comments in the chat. We're gonna look at that as well because I want to see if you guys agree with Sam Harris, disagree with him, and it's gonna be, I'm gonna engage with the chat while we do this as well. But I also need to go do a bio break. So let me just play this.
Before we get to the Iran deal, and before you ruin the mood, we have to watch this hilarious clip that does a great job of summing things up over there. Let's play that clip.
All right, I'm not sure why we're all still having trouble with this. Let's try it again from the top. This is a victory for the U.S. because our goal from day one was for Iran to open the strait that didn't close till after we attacked, which was completely controlled by their military we had total dominance over. And it was a waterway that we could have taken over, but instead asked for help that we didn't need, but we'll remember that our allies did not give us, all because of the negotiating power of a FIFA Peace Prize recipient's threat to annihilate a civilization in order to liberate them from a regime that changed, which was not our goal, but we will take credit for, from an old man who hates us to his younger son who hates us for those reasons and that we killed his father. And while it is not clear the status of Iran's nuclear capabilities that we obliterated last year, but we're going to be a problem in 2 weeks, one thing is for sure. They now have more money and control of the strait than they had when they made the old deal that we ended because it was terrible. Now, I think that is enough about authoritarian problems.
Great.
We got
I've never seen this guy before, but he's
Wait.
fantastic.
It was.
We have to like that whole first bit is completely a lie. Like it says that we went over there and we hit them because they wanted control of the strait. That's not why we hit them. We hit them because of the uranium, right? So that like everything, every part. You see, this is what people like. You know how they sneak stuff in with a joke? They sneak stuff in with a nudge and a wink to like on that base make more and more arguments. So if you look at that first clip, so many things. They're playing with the timing, they're playing with the reasoning, they're playing with the motivation, and you're supposed to just. This is like the Jon Stewart method. They would sneak stuff in as a joke that when you look at it, and this was also done by Stephen Colbert when he was a little bit funnier. He was always kind of terrible, but when he went into late night, it got even worse. They sneak lies in, and then they get, it was a joke. I wasn't being serious. It was part of my creative liberty as being a jokester. So many things in that first bit listen to it. If you listen to that first comedy bit on which I'm guessing they're going to base all of what they're going to say, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty dishonest, but hopefully the rest of it is a bit more honest. We'll see.
So well done. Okay, wait, one more thing before we get to your thoughts. I want to start this segment with I just want to get to a clip of you from June 1st of this year in conversation with our friend Haviv Rettiger, where you address any Jews who are single issue voters for Israel who voted for Trump. But before we play it, I just want to read a transcript of what you said in an episode back in May of 2025. Okay, so if you follow that, you said in
May of last year. Okay.
Last year. This is May of last year. You said he's not a reliable partner to Israel. He would sell Israel out for a hotel deal in Saudi Arabia. And then you went on to say, by the way, talking about Trump, if that wasn't clear, he's not a serious person. He doesn't actually understand anything. He has allegiances which are vulnerable to the next moment he feels personally slighted by somebody. Again, that was in May of 2025. And this clip is from June of this year, 2026. Let's play that clip.
I believe I have a more realistic picture of who Trump is and how he's capable of betraying Israel right? So any Jew who was a single issue voter in America who thought, okay, I'm gonna take Trump because he's just gonna be so good on Israel. He moved the embassy to Jerusalem. I mean, this guy is just all in for Israel. I see him as a much more conflicted and superficial character than that. I mean, I don't think he understands the real issues of jihadism and Islamism. I think he's happy to glad hand a somebody who was a jihadist yesterday, like the current.
Oh, by the way, this is Ask Haviv. I'm going to be on his show soon. Let me see on my calendar.
Yeah, he is way better. Like, I have seen shorts from that guy. Like, that's the guy I want to listen to.
He invited me on his show.
Have you seen his bit on international law? It's exquisite.
Okay. All right, let me continue.
A leader of Syria, just because he likes the cut of his jib and thinks he's telegenic, he'll cut some family. He'll figure out how to make $1 billion by cutting some deal in Qatar and not care, how much blood is on the hands of the people he's now in bed with. He's just, and I think if the mullahs in Tehran had offered him, had bought, $1 billion worth of his cryptocurrency, there might not have been a war in Iran, right? I mean, I just think he's that selfish and easily misled.
Wow.
Wait. Like, this is all a series of I think, I believe, and ad hominems. He hasn't said anything based on this thing that happened, this thing that he says, this deal that he made, this thing that he did to Israel that was bad. It's all just him talking to you about his feelings and his thoughts. It's not based on anything. Well, outside of the ad hominems, which are a terrible way to make an argument, very lowly way to make an argument.
Okay.
Right.
You know what? I'm going to let Monkey respond to this today. So, yeah, let's just go through this. Monkey, you open your mic whenever you want to respond.
Yeah. Well, I still think that.
Oh, wait, we got a super chat. Let me respond to this one. Thank you, Wolf, saying, Armin, have you done any shorts or supercuts of the Durka versus Durka translations? I think it would be useful to have clips for us to share on social media regarding the faction fighting in the IGC. I have somebody who cuts the videos out. So if you
like a playlist,
just like shorts, we make short videos. So Wolf, if there's any segment that you think it would be useful, if you email it to me, armin.navabi@gmail.com, like here, like Armin, this video, this segment to this segment, I think it will be useful. Then I will forward that to our editor and we'll make a short about it because I'm not in charge of finding those. I have somebody who does that for me, so I don't know if they have done that or not. But if there's anything that you think that, oh, Armin, this should be its own video from your live stream, just email the link to the video and the timestamp, and I will tell our editor to cut that part out. And thank you for the recommendation. All right, let's continue.
Basically everyone has dissected this this fake resolution to the war in Iran. I think the first thing to say about it is that I don't think the details much matter because I don't think it's real. I don't think it's going to last. I think I don't think the conflict with Iran is over.
Again, this is, I think, I don't believe, I don't think, I don't believe, I don't think, I don't give a fuck what you think or believe. We got to make our arguments based on facts. You may believe that, the moon is made of Swiss cheese. What do I care what he believes? I also put something to share if you want. It's an image file. It's the basis of the pyramid of arguments. Maybe if anybody would like to take a look at that, I think it's very informative when you're going to listen to anybody. Listen to see if they are within counter-argument, refutation, refuting the central point, or just doing ad hominem and responding to tone.
Yeah, but if you're making your claim, it's hard not to make your claims at least without the word "I think" at the beginning. I mean, I think like me and you, when we're speaking, we're also saying, "I think this, I think that." Like we do that all the time. I think
we do it, but we base it on past actions. We base it on, I think because of this and this that happened, this and this might happen. He's basing it on nothing.
So we don't know yet. Let's see. Like maybe he does, But I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. But like I think, like at the beginning, if they're making their claim, let's give it some chance to see if they're going to support it with anything, right? But at least at the beginning, when you're making your claims, it's hard not to use the word "I think," right? But let's continue.
Well, the reason why it matters,
I mean, for example, I also think that the negotiations are not going to end the conflict, and the conflict between Islamic Republic and United States is so fundamental that one way or another we're going to go back to higher tensions at some point. So I do agree with that, and I already explained in many streams why I think that. I have the evidence for that.
Well, he has no evidence of them doing it over a deal for a hotel.
Okay.
I don't think the details much matter because I don't think it's real. I don't think it's going to last. I think I don't think the conflict with Iran is over. Nor do I think it should be over. But the reason why it matters, this so-called memorandum of understanding is that it is a full and fully humiliating capitulation to Iran, right? I mean, like it's shocking in all the ways that people are shocked by it. It reveals Trump's willingness to totally betray Israel and as an ally that is fighting an existential war.
Well, I mean, the MOU is not a deal, so we haven't seen what actually is going to happen yet. The MOU
I mean,
is not. Yeah,
he's not saying how it betrays Israel.
Yeah, I mean, the MOU, whatever is in the MOU, we have to see what actually happens because the MOU is not binding. It's just for show. It's not a deal.
He's gone so far as to say, and he and his odious vice president have both gone so far as to say that they shouldn't be responding to missile strikes from Hezbollah, right? They just shouldn't respond, and they're also guilty of killing too many non-combatants in Lebanon when they do respond. So he sounds like Hassan Piker on some level now. Fancy that.
So to be fair, I don't like the way that they're talking about Israel, but I also do know that Israel will respond either way. Like Israel will respond. I don't like the fact that they have to pause this often, but I also understand that it is bad for Israel if Democrats take over the House and Senate. It's worse for Democrats if that happens. So if President Trump has to just say to the Israelis like, oh, stop, don't, no, just so that the Islamic Republic has this image internally that they have made the Americans try their best to stop Israel, just for the MOU to go forward, so that oil prices are low, so that the midterms are not too bad for the Republicans. Short term, maybe that's bad for Israel. I mean, long term, it's also hurts their image a lot. But at the end of the day, it's the worst thing would be a full Democratic takeover of the House and the Senate. That would be worse for Israel. So I see why if United States has to do that, I understand it.
I predicted what that was all about. I said, look, he's just saying this so Lebanon will deal with Israel because they don't want to deal with Jolani. That's clearly what I said. Look, there's a possibility here that he's trying to push Lebanon to deal better with Israel because they don't want to deal with Syria. And that's exactly what happened. So I don't know. I mean, I'm just looking at the facts as they, as they come out. As they unfold, right? This is what I predicted. This is what's happening. So I'm going to go with that line of thinking because it makes more logical sense than, oh, I just hate Israel. No, I want Israel to deal with Lebanon. I hate Lebanon. You want to decapitate her or you want to deal with my friend over here, Israel? And that's kind of what's happening.
Mike in the chat saying to what I said, again, this 12D bullshit, this 12D bullshit. It's not 12D. I mean, I don't know if you don't understand this, but winning elections is basic politics. bringing prices down to win elections is not even 2D. That's like tic-tac-toe. Like that is not even chess. Like
that's painting with numbers.
Right, exactly. I don't know if you know how politics works, but like politicians try to win elections. That is the basics of politics. That's politics 101. Also, he's saying, Armin, don't respect democracy. Leave it to the markets. You do understand that democracy is about respecting the will and agency of the people, and the agency of the people. The markets is about the economic agency of the people, right? It's about liberty. I don't know if you understand. You know the point of democracy is for people to be able to make their own decisions, including their economic decisions, which is the markets. You know that they're connected. All right, let's continue.
So it couldn't be a greater betrayal. Rhetorically, it could not be a greater betrayal. I mean, he could go one notch further and start denying the Holocaust or something of that sort. But I mean, he's already made Israel the scapegoat for the coming failure of this deal. Israel's the reason why Iran's not going to be satisfied with our abject compliance to their demands in the end, because we can't perfectly control what's happening in Lebanon, as though that should be part of this deal at all.
Look, as I said before, this has all just been negated by the deal that Lebanon is making with Israel. It could go further, but
I don't think so. I think you're reading too much in the deal with Lebanon. I think that's just I think that has nothing to do with I think that was something that they were pushing for forever. Like it would have to happen eventually. And that deal is Lebanon is not going to be able to push back Hezbollah. So I think you're reading too much into that deal with Lebanon. But let me actually play a little bit of this
in the end, because we can't perfectly control what's happening in Lebanon, as though that should be part of this deal at all.
Well, I mean, okay, so Sam Harris doesn't really understand the internal politics of the Islamic Republic. If you're trying to do a ceasefire before the midterms and also to resupply your munitions, you need to sign an MOU that will hold the Islamic Republic, that the Islamic Republic can sell internally, or else they wouldn't be able to stop. They wouldn't be able to do a ceasefire. So the MOU needs to include Hezbollah in it, or else Ghalibaf would not be able to get the IRGC to back the fuck off at least a little bit for at least this time. So there needs to be, you needed to give Ghalibaf certain things so that he could have sold it internally. That's the point of including Hezbollah there.
Everything is wrong with it. I just don't feel the need to think much about it, because again, I don't think it's going to last. I don't think it really is going to tell us what
it's not meant to last. That makes it actually a good thing. They're doing a temporary pause to recover for their missile stockpiles as interceptors.
It's literally 60 days.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how long it's going to last, how long the ceasefire is going to last, but he thinks it's not going to last. Well, then that means that this is a pause. It's not supposed to, like, oh, this MOU is not working because it's not going to last. Well, it's not supposed to last. It's supposed to be a pause. The fact that it's not going to last. Hold on, let me finish my thought. The point. Okay, don't interrupt me because I forget what I'm going to say. The fact that it's not going to last is a feature. It's not a bug. But yeah, go on.
I'm saying he knows this is not him being stupid. He knows it's not going to last. It's not supposed to last. He knows it's a 60-day deal. He knows it's not supposed to last, but his audience might not, because they might be brain-rotted idiots. They might be lefties. We don't know what's wrong with them, but we know that they're seeking him for information, and he is not giving them the correct information, which is this was never meant to last.
Okay, that is unfair to Sam Harris and his audience. I disagree with him, but he's not a dishonest person, as much as I sometimes disagree with him.
I absolutely believe, I reject that wholeheartedly. This guy is a piece of shit. He's a goddamn fucking liar. I've seen him debate Tim Pool. I've seen him on this is not my first encounter with this piece of shit.
Okay, but let me finish my thought. Can I finish my thought?
I had to chimp out because I know this dishonest piece of shit is a dishonest piece of shit.
Okay, but chimp out after I finish.
I'm sorry.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
Okay. But okay, so maybe I'm wrong about him, but he's not a leftist. He's aggressively anti-Islam, aggressively anti-Antifa, aggressively anti-woke, right? So I don't know if I can't agree with that. But maybe if he's dishonest, I haven't seen it. He came out, and when it was very, very unpopular to stand against Islam, he came out against Islam, and he lost a huge chunk of his audience. Like when at the middle of the BLM, when everybody was bending the knee to the BLM, he came out and against the BLM, and he lost a huge chunk of his audience because of that. So maybe I'm wrong, but let's continue.
The future holds here, but what it does prove, which I've never had any doubt about, but I mean it's still nonetheless shocking, is that Trump is willing to utterly torch our credibility on every level. I mean, it's like this is such a diminishment of our power, both soft and hard at this point. And I mean, the thing that never ceases to astonish me about Trump is that the usual way to think about him is as a narcissist and an egomaniac and as somebody who's.
Wait, so Texas Trooper is saying, so he's leftist or woke right? Neither. He's anti Tucker Carlson. He's anti Nick Fuentes. He's anti woke. He's anti Islam. He's anti BLM. He's anti the leftists. So on almost everything, he's on our side, and he has taken these positions exactly where they were very popular, ahead of other people, where they were very unpopular. The only thing that a lot of us would disagree with him is how anti-Trump he is. Like on almost everything, not everything, but almost everything, we agree with Sam Harris. The only thing that we might disagree with him a lot is how aggressively anti-Trump he is. Oh, we got another super chat. Hezi, thank you so much for the super chat, saying, back when I was still left, Israeli left, not American left, Sam Harris couldn't solve the problem that eventually Elika LeBlanc did for me. She really made me understand what's going on. Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, Elika is great. And thank you, Hezi, for the super chat. And we got another super chat here from Justin saying, Carlson was all those things at one time too. Oh, okay, yep. Well, Carlson, Tucker Carlson was always retarded. When I was guys, when we ex-Muslims were fighting against Islam, the only person in the left, the only person in the West that was saying most of what we wanted to be said, we was saying the things that we wanted to be said, was Sam Harris. That's why we ex-Muslims really look highly on him, and also.
Oh, okay, that's it.
Yeah, and also Tucker Carlson. I mean, his arguments were really advanced, because when you say Tucker Carlson, his arguments were so basic. We read his books, Sam Harris's books. We read them, and they're very deep. I'm not saying I agree with him on everything, but he's not his level of debate is at a higher level. But yeah, go ahead.
Okay, can I point some things out? Okay, since 2004, Sam Harris has been for progressive taxation, substantial social safety nets, support for universal health care, universal basic income, right? And let me see. These are his points. He has been all the way with Obama, and Trump hater since the start. So this guy has been a lefty most of his life. I think that there is I mean, I can just show you his book, show you his posts, show you what he's about. He's always been, if you're looking at the economics, if you don't want to be like, about the religion thing. I know there's the religion thing, right? But let's forget the religion thing. Let's say this is not about religion. We're talking about war and we're talking about economics. When it comes to economics, he's a leftist. When it comes to war, maybe he has some takes in there, but his wars seem his war stance may be like interpreted through a lens of TDS more than he's about economics.
All right, so let's just focus on the arguments here, but let me just respond to you. But I want to get back to the video because it's really crazy to suggest Sam Harris is a leftist, like in my opinion. He's anti-Islam, he's pro-Israel, he's pro-free markets, he's anti-BLM, he's anti-woke, he's anti-communism.
I don't understand how universal basic income is free market.
Yeah, so free market is a spectrum, okay? But like universal, like being yeah, so he's less free market than I am if he has that position. He's very much pro-police. He's pro-law enforcement, law and order. So these are right-leaning positions. I don't think he's left or right. He has some positions that I agree with, and he has some position I disagree with. And I don't think he could be boxed into left and right. But on so many things, he's on our side. On many things, he's against us. And I appreciate the things that he's on the same side of us. I think like just calling somebody left because we disagree with him, I don't think Sam Harris could be boxed into left or right.
If you put a gun to my head and told me, say Sam Harris is anything but a leftist, I'd say pull the trigger because I'm not saying that.
Okay, whatever. But like it's crazy. But in my opinion, suggesting like we're not finishing this video because of you being hungover over him being leftist, but somebody being anti-BLM, anti-woke, pro-Israel, anti-Islam, fundamentally anti-Islam, pro-military, pro-police, pro-United States that is very strong with a strong military, and pro-law enforcement and law and order. I think if you call that left, then I don't know what to do then, right? So yeah.
If I have a list just as long as of his leftist position, I mean, or longer of his leftist positions, I mean.
So like I don't know, Monkey. Like I want to get back to the video, but your point confirms what I'm saying, that he cannot be boxed into right and left if we have both of those, right? So can I get back to the video, or do you want to personally attack Sam rather than arguing, like seeing what he's saying over here, right? All right, let's go through the video, because I think we're doing like personal attacks rather than, because I was arguing against the points that he's making here, right? Instead of personally attacking him as an individual, we could listen to the
pointing out his views is not a personal attack; it's a quote.
Yeah, but it's a logical fallacy called the genetic logical fallacy, So somebody, regardless of their source of the information, they could be making good or bad arguments at the time. Like somebody could be a leftist with bad points, or a right-leaning leftist with good points. Somebody could be a communist, but they could be making an argument that is good.
I don't think he's a communist.
No, you're missing my point. I didn't say he's a communist. I'm saying somebody could be a communist and make a good point. So pointing out that he's a communist or she's a communist even does not take away from the point that they're making at that moment. So going back to the person's history and what they stood for is a logical fallacy called the genetic fallacy. So we could judge what he's saying here regardless of what his history is. Let me just play the video.
Who sees everything in personal terms, right? He's like, he is the one who holds all of our power and wields it. And if you offend him, there's going to be hell to pay. And if you flatter him, you're going to benefit from American power thrown your way, right? And that's true as far as it goes. Except what's amazing is that he is totally incapable of perceiving embarrassment and much less failure on his own. So he has humiliated himself utterly, and also our country utterly, discredited himself utterly, discredited his country utterly, and yet feels no discomfort, no apparent discomfort.
Well, this is just his
around
opinion.
that,
What am I
right?
supposed to believe from all this? This is just him saying what he thinks.
I know. I'm waiting for him to say how. So if he doesn't say how, I would be disappointed. But hopefully, he says how.
Think if he had a normal ego, right? If it was all about him and how he was perceived and his greatness and all, you'd think he would not be able to bend over the way he has for these Iranian thugs. But I mean, he's like, did you ever see the Black Mirror episode where the prime minister?
Yeah, so far these are not arguments. Let me read the super chat. Justin is saying someone who can't be boxing into one side or the other usually indicates they're playing both sides. It could also mean that they're an independent thinker. It could also mean that.
There's a terrorist incident. They've got, I forget who's held hostage, but the hostage takers forced the prime minister of the UK to have sex with a pig on live television as a way of, the only way to release the hostages is that, the prime minister has to have sex with a pig, and it's filmed for all to see, right? So the most humiliating, awful thing in the world, the prime minister has to do that thing, right? This is the Black Mirror episode. I mean, Trump is effectively in that situation. Doesn't seem to know. I mean, like if that were forced on Trump, he would come away saying things like, "Well, pigs are very intelligent animals," and he would find some way to try to spin it as though it made him look good, right? Like,
so none of this is an argument. I don't know. Like, where's the argument? So
he's so
he's a propagandist
around every aspect of this. He doesn't appear to know what he's done. He's the guy who said that the JCPOA was the worst deal ever negotiated. What he's just negotiated is objectively worse in every respect than the JCPOA.
not really, because the MOU is not a deal. We haven't seen what happened yet. And also, the JCPOA was not after killing the supreme leader, killing the IRGC, destroying their navy, destroying their military, destroying their air force. Like, it's not at all like it comes. I don't know. The MOU is just a ceasefire. It's not a deal. Nothing has been signed. And you admitted that it's not going to be stable. So the JCPOA was stable. This was not, I mean, at least for years, this is not going to be stable even for months. You yourself admitted that. It's just supposed to give the Americans a pause for some breathing room. That's the difference.
He vilified the Obama regime for the $1.7 billion of the so-called pallets of cash that they delivered to the Iranians. Well, he is delivering more than two orders of magnitude more money.
No, it's not. First of all, no, they're giving them food vouchers. And the fund, the fraud, which is and they took $1 trillion away from them. So this is different. First of all, the JCPOA hand over money to the Islamic Republic without taking away from them. President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu, they killed Ali Khamenei and destroyed so much from the Islamic Republic worth $1 trillion. This is like nothing. What they're giving them is nothing compared to what they took away from them.
The Iranians, as a result of this deal, right?
I mean, what Obama did with the JCPOA, he gave the funding to the Islamic Republic for the terrorist groups, for them to be able to do things like October 7th. Operation Epic Fury and everything that came before it basically decapitated all of these terrorist proxy groups. That's the difference.
And yet, I mean, so the thing that's truly astounding is not just the failure and the loss of face, right? It's the the fact that he doesn't seem to even recognize it, right? That his shamelessness really is a kind of superpower that never ceases.
I mean, who cares about shamelessness or narcissism and all of these personal attacks? Just look at, so I wish Sam Harris would talk about President Trump the way I talk about him, right? Like, I don't care about like propagandist, he's leftist, he's this. I don't care. I look at the things that he's saying and I'm judging it. Like, I don't care if you're a narcissist. I don't care if you're this, if you're leftist, right leaning. I look at the results and I judge the results. President Trump could be the most narcissistic person on the planet Earth if what he's doing is producing, if he's producing results. I'm like, okay, be narcissistic. I don't fucking care if you're narcissistic or not. Just produce the results. The results are speaking for themselves. So again, like for example, with Sam Harris, like people are like, oh my God, he's like this, is that, he's leftist. Like, I don't care. I look at the words that are coming out of his mouth and I judge them independently from everything else. Even though I appreciate, like, look at this, guys. I really appreciate Sam Harris for everything he has done for us ex-Muslims over the years. But I'm not holding back. I'm not holding back when it comes to criticizing whatever he's saying that I disagree with, right? I wouldn't personally attack him, but his statements, if it's wrong, because I know that I understand Iranian politics more than Sam Harris. So I feel like, I don't know, when it comes to the free will, obviously like Sam Harris, when he talk about it, like he has authority on that topic. But when it comes to Iran, I know that Sam Harris doesn't understand the Iran issue at all compared to the level of understanding that I have. That's why I feel comfortable being able to say like, no, you're wrong about this. You don't understand what's happening here.
Oh, he does understand. He's just lying.
Yeah, that's your feelings. You know, you don't have evidence for that. That's what you don't like the guy, and you're just making a claim. That's what you say. I think that. You don't know that. It could be his actual. You don't know what's happening in people's heads. He could be wrong about something. Not everybody who's wrong about something is lying. And Noah, thank you so much for the super chat. The Persian American saying it seems that this guy didn't read the MOU. I mean, the MOU is shit in my opinion, but the MOU is not a deal. It's like an excuse. The MOU is not a legal document. The MOU is a marketing document. It's non-binding. We have to.
Okay, so he didn't know it's 60 days. He didn't know it's he didn't know anything. So why is this guy important? Why should I listen to him if his whole thing is, no, I'm very intelligent and I know how to formulate good arguments for this thing, but when I cover this thing, I'm gonna totally forget how to read the MOU, totally forget that it's 60 days, totally forget, like I can't, this doesn't fit in my head. You have to be doing this on purpose because you can't be so great at making arguments that it's against Islam, but you can't even read this paper. Like, you know what? Okay, you want to say he doesn't know? Maybe he doesn't know. Then he's too careless for me to care what he thinks.
Well, okay, maybe. Well, he's a big deal. Okay, so if you don't care, but he's a big deal. His audience is big. He has a lot of influence, so he does matter. His opinions do matter. Yeah, but I think like we don't know. Like we don't know if he knows, he doesn't know. But if you do read the MOU, it does look like worse than the JCPOA. But what you need to understand is that like here's the things that you should understand when you read it. Like if you read the MOU and you read a lot of analysis online, you might think like, okay, yeah, this is worse than the JCPOA. What you don't see in a lot of analysis online, I can understand why somebody would be misled by that. What you don't read is that this MOU is non-binding. The United States could do whatever the fuck it wants after that. Yeah, I mean, a lot of things that I've already said that I'm not going to repeat. I do see, like, if you go read all of the articles and opinion pieces out there online, I could see why somebody within the intellectual community thinking that they're reading the best political analysis, they will come to this understanding that this is worse than the JCPOA. But let me see. Justin gave us a super chat saying for elitist types. Yeah, exactly. I think like that's a problem with the elitists because they read each other's works and they're in their own bubble. And once something gets trending, once a view gets trending over there, they think that they have this understanding of things, Justin is saying for elitist types, what you say or do is irrelevant. character or image is paramount, which explains why some hyper focus on Trump image. You know, that I can see that. I can see what Justin is saying is possible. Yeah, for sure. Again, but I don't know what's going on. You know, guys, I don't know what's going on in people's brains. What I do know is the words that are coming out of your mouth, and I could judge them the way they are, wrong, or, you know, I could say I think it's wrong, I think it's right. I don't know exactly the motivations behind why you said them, but I could judge them as they are, as correct or incorrect based on what I have evidence for.
Amazement.
Well, there's also the asymmetry. It sounds similar to the asymmetry between.
And guys, look at this. Somebody saying Trump is perfect. Jesus fucking Christ. I never fucking said that. I criticized Trump recently a lot regarding his language over Israel. Like, just because I see the necessity of the MOU and the ceasefire, even though I don't like it, I can accept that why the Americans had to do that. I've criticized Trump all the time regarding the way he's talking about Israel right now.
The alleged Biden corruption that everyone was so upset about, and the Trump corruption, and just right out in the open, and no one gives a shit about.
Well, I mean, so you can make the case. So I think weakness is provocative. You certainly can make the case, and I think several people have, that our ignominious retreat from Afghanistan. It's not to say we should never have gotten out of Afghanistan, but the way we got out, the chaos that attended that, the obvious failure of planning.
I want to show a little bit of bias here. Like, what happened in Afghanistan was a disaster. We basically armed the Taliban, and that was under Biden. It was Biden that did that. Because America has a problem when it's the Democrats. Whenever it's the Republicans that have a problem, no, that's just that guy, right? If Trump ever makes his mistakes, it's Trump's mistakes. If the Democrats ever make a mistake, no, he's a pig fucker. No, he's a pig fucker. He's fucking a pig in front of everybody. All right. Now, when it comes to what Biden did, which actually cost a lot of lives, lost millions in equipment, right? I would say billions. You know, it's ignominious. He has all these purple language, flowery phrases for it. It just shows the bias. But go on.
He has attacked Biden a lot, by the way, a lot.
It doesn't change what he's doing in this case.
Showcasing of American weakness, the way we scurried out of there, handing everything over to the Taliban, pretending to trust them, that they had changed, and now they've brought back slavery, and women are living in bags again and can't go to school, and I mean it's as awful as can be. All of that, right? That was provocative, and that is certainly a proximate cause of Putin feeling like, well, I can go into Ukraine now. Surely these imbeciles can't do anything about it, right? They can't even get their cargo planes to take off without hundreds of people clinging to the bottoms of them and falling to their deaths, right? I mean, it's like this is a failing power. Okay, Trump has done that in a way that is, I mean, it defies.
Like, notice again, it's America that's weak. Like, he did kind of like softly for half a second say, yeah, Biden had ignominiously said a whole bunch of flowery purple words about it, and then moved on to it's America. It's America's loss of power. It's America's dwindling power. It's America's loss of power that emboldened Putin. He's not saying it's Biden's fault that Putin went in because Biden looked so fucking weak in Afghanistan that Putin say, all these idiots, I can get over this fucking idiot. No. When it's Biden, he has to soften it and blame all of America. When it's Trump, it's Trump. That just shows the bias.
Okay.
Right. I mean, there's no comparison. And he's unraveled our stature completely. No, and he's the reason why he found himself in this situation, in large part, is the result of having done all the other stupid things he did in the run up to the war. I mean, the whole Greenland business, right, that alienated all of our European allies. It was the proximate cause of none of them coming to our aid when he said that the comedy routine was perfect, but like we didn't need the aid, but then we did need the aid. I mean, when the Strait of Hormuz was closed, right? and we wanted the rest of Europe to say, okay, we're not going to tolerate this. We're, you, Iran, have now alienated the entire world. We're not going to buy your oil. We're all going to sanction you. We're all going to ram our boats through there. You just watch what happens if you attack us, right? Like the fact that the whole world, civilized world, couldn't call bullshit on this hostage crisis is, I think, largely attributable to the fact that Trump, because he's an imbecile, had alienated all of our allies in the run-up to the war, and the Greenland thing was certainly part of that, right? I mean, he was literally threatening.
I mean, fuck them. President Trump. Like, this is a contradiction here, because he says President Trump did the right thing to attack the Islamic Republic. It's not like if President Trump didn't say that about Greenland, these NATO member countries would have come and helped with this. Like, I don't know. I think that's delusional to think that it was because of Greenland. I don't think any of these countries would have came out and helped regardless of that.
Yeah, he's delusional or lying.
We had the Danes go into Greenland with bags of blood for blood transfusions and live rounds in their rifles, preparing to fight and die in defense of Greenland, because Trump is just bloviating on Truth Social about it. Right?
That's a lie and an exaggeration. That they have to go with bags of blood. Did you see the forces that went to Greenland? It was like, what, 15 people? What is he? He's crying because 15 people went to Greenland because of something Trump said? What were they going to do with 15 people? Everything that happened with Greenland just demonstrated NATO's incapability to work in that theater. That's what it demonstrated. That's why they all backed down. That's why they wind up making a deal with Trump and saying, go ahead. We're going to have a deal with you.
Okay.
President who has
we do. Yeah, I agree. We do need Greenland, though. Yeah, I hope Greenland does become part of the U.S. though.
He valued every possible communication from the world's only superpower, right? This is a guy who will say one day we're going to commit genocide in Iran, right? A whole civilization is going to die tonight. And no one really cares because they know it's all bullshit. And now,
well, I mean, if it's all bullshit, then why do you? I mean, if it's all bullshit, is supposed to, it scared them enough to get them to the negotiating table. Obviously, when it comes to actions that President Trump has taken, he has been very, very sensitive not to destroy too much of the infrastructure of the Iranian people. So if you look at his actions, you can see that he doesn't want to kill people. He doesn't want to destroy infrastructure. Whatever he said in that Truth Social post scared the shit out of the Islamic Republic enough to get them to the negotiating table. It actually by him saying that I will destroy an entire civilization, he actually saved lives by saying that. I mean, I don't know if it was 5D chess or not. I don't care. The end result was that they came to the negotiating table, and President Trump has shown to be very, very eager not to use too much of a destructive force against infrastructure and people's and killing a lot of people.
Now he's the same guy saying that these are good people. They deserve ballistic missiles because everyone needs some ballistic missiles. And what am I going to do? Take away all their ballistic missiles? And the regime has changed, and these are rational people. These aren't fanatics.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like any U.S. president saying like, "Oh, the Islamic Republic needs some ballistic missiles." I don't like that, but so I don't like that language. I do see why they had to pull back from attacking the Islamic Republic, but that's not a language. I don't think that a U.S. president coming out and saying that we recognize the Islamic Republic's rights to have ballistic missiles, I don't think that's helpful long term.
Nothing means anything anymore. Again, this guy is a lunatic, and we've put him in charge of.
Well, this lunatic has done more against the Islamic Republic than any president in U.S. history. So if you're saying it's lunatic, then we need more lunatics. Because as much as I keep criticizing President Trump and defending him, right? Like my last statement was a criticism. Here saying he's a lunatic. Okay, can we have more lunatics as presidents? Because 2 or 3 more lunatics will end the Islamic Republic if we keep going this way. He has caused more damage to the Islamic Republic than any president in U.S. history, and that's an undeniable fact.
large part of human history at this point. And it's unforgivable. I mean, it really is
I
unforgivable.
can't wait for
The thing
Marco
that-
to chimp out. When Marco chimps out, it's going to be glorious. Wait until he's president. It's going to be so good.
that I find psychologically interesting is my internal response to all the people who were single issue voters on this topic who suddenly now recognize that there's something wrong with Trump, right? The fact that they've been whipsawed by him, claiming to fight this war for all the right reasons, and then to have all that unravel into specious nonsense, but still hopefully, directionally correct, and then to have it fully unravel into an abject betrayal of, full acquiescence to Iranian demands and an abject betrayal of our one ally in the region.
I mean, I should show him the level of humiliation that the Islamic Republic is experiencing internally inside Iran. I don't know where he's getting full capitulation to the Islamic Republic demands. I don't know where he's getting that from. I don't know if he understands that the MOU was already the maximum. The worst. The Islamic Republic could not accept anything other than that MOU for the ceasefire. We just wrote them something on a piece of paper so we could get a ceasefire. That's all that the MOU is. And if it wasn't written that way, they wouldn't be able to give into it because it's already extremely humiliating. They wouldn't be able to deal with more humiliation than the one that they've already received so far.
The people for whom that was the single issue on which they put their faith in Trump, and to see that, him renege on everything important, the Ben Shapiro's of the world, to see them come around at last and say, okay, this is totally unacceptable. This is every bit as awful as Trump's critics have said it was or was going to be. You would think the response would be, and I think it should be, great. I'm glad, better late than never. Come on in, the water's warm. I'm glad you finally see the situation for what it is. But no, there's this first reaction that I find, and I see many other people having it, which is, it's kind of contempt for how long it took them. It's like January 6th wasn't enough for you to realize that this is the wrong guy to put in charge of our fucking country, right? Like that. I got.
Wait, January 6th? Okay. Justin is saying Islamic Republic giving up nukes is Trump capitulating. Okay, so here's the thing, Justin. They haven't given up yet. And if they do, honestly, if they do, everybody who was saying that Trump has made a mistake, I don't know if it's going to happen or not. Like, I don't know if they're going to give up the enriched uranium. But honestly, if this results in IAEA inspectors going in and destroying all of the Islamic Republic's enrichment capabilities and the enriched uranium getting out of Iran, if all of this gets us to there, all of these people need to come and say, we apologize, we were wrong about Trump. I'm not saying that would happen, but if it does happen, if these people don't come out and say we were wrong, then Monkey is right. Because at that point it would be undeniable that this has been the best strategy against Islamic Republic. I don't know if it will happen or not, but if it does, then if somebody like Sam Harris doesn't come out saying I was wrong, he actually really came up with the best plan, then he's as dishonest as Monkey says he is.
Guy who lied about losing the election, all the while trying to steal the election, right? Like that wasn't enough of an evisceration of the norms of our democracy for you to realize that this is just a no-go area.
I mean, I don't care. As an Iranian, he killed Khamenei. He damaged the Islamic Republic at a point that at a level that I've never seen any other president do.
I want to point out that he knows for a fact that the Democrat Party is trying to, as a whole, having an identification, asking for an identification at the polling booth, when you go vote, illegal. You can't even ask for an identification. If they show it to you, you can't look at it. That's how things are shaping up in California. He knows that. And he's talking about stealing elections. I want you to notice that hypocrisy.
Yeah. All right, let's continue because I'm not going to have any time to eat before. Guys, we're going to go into our next stream in 10 minutes. And I'm not going to have time to eat. So let me just finish this really quickly. I mean, just finish it.
So there's a lot of anger that so many smart people let us get here, and now they're only realizing it on this issue that this is.
You're just talking about one cohort here. You know, this is you've been asking for a long time. What will it take for someone to regret their decision about Trump? Well, you now know that answer for the
this
single
cohort,
issue voters for this cohort.
Yeah.
But not for anyone else.
But when we finally get here, right, and to see the light bulb go on in the mind of somebody, where the lights have been off for basically a decade, and to see it go on, however bright, to feel not relief, but just a renewed sense of anger, like even it's almost like a doubling of the impatience before you finally get over yourself and say, all right, great, I'm glad we see eye to eye on this finally. There's a feeling of just fuck you, right? Like it should not have taken this long. It shouldn't have been reducible to this one thing because there were 1,000 things, and it shouldn't have taken this long. And you aren't acknowledging the role you played in getting us here, right?
But you can understand. You said you understood why some people could have voted for Trump, even though you pushed back against it.
No, I understand it. I mean, it still wasn't enough. And again, I think they should have been clear-eyed about all of this all along. I do get it. And it's going to be worse next time, frankly. It's like, what we just said about the influence of the DSA on the Democratic Party, like that, if that continues to grow, then it's only going to get worse, right? So then it's going to be a forced choice between lunatics of different flavors. But yeah, it's just interesting psychologically and culturally that, I mean, I guess the thing is there's no, it would be less frustrating if there was more of a mea culpa, if there was more of an apology or some kind of account of what they got wrong, right? That's not what I'm seeing people do. It's just like, okay, this domino finally fell. This is the only domino I cared about. Now I feel awful about Trump. But I'm not going to reevaluate all the other signposts that I blew past on my way to this cliff, dragging everyone else with me, right? Like I'm not disposed to look back and catalog my errors, right? And the errors were so obvious that it's just, it's frustrating.
I mean, I don't understand. Like, maybe I'm too much of a capitalist, but Sam Harris keeps acting like the sky is falling and the United States is collapsing. But my metrics is, I mean, the stock market is at an all-time high. The job markets are amazing. Industries are growing in the United States. Things are moving in the right direction in the United States, overall, in my opinion. So I don't know what he's looking at. But he thinks like, the United States is ruined because of President Trump. And I think United States, I genuinely think United States has its best days ahead of it. Like, I think people haven't seen, like everybody says the United States is a superpower, which it is right now. I think people are not prepared for what the United States is about to become in the next couple of decades. And I don't think, I don't think any president can stop that. That's what I think, based on the metrics I'm looking at. But I didn't see any arguments here, unfortunately. I also now have as much as I respect Sam's understanding of Islam, and also some other philosophical topics that I think he's good at, I know that it's obvious that he doesn't understand Middle Eastern politics. He doesn't understand Iran.
Look, what I'll say about him is he held some leftist views that are now considered right-wing, and that's why some consider him a centrist. If you go back in the time when he started in, I think it was 2008, he held a lot of the same views that used to be in line with all of the left back then. Because the left is now communist and he's not a full communist, he gets a lot of credit. I'll give it to him. He's not a communist. I'm not going to call him a centrist, but he's not a communist. And you know what? I'll give him that. That's my support. I'll give him his flowers. He's not a communist.
Okay, well, again, with the attacks on him directly rather than his arguments.
It's a compliment. He's not a communist. That's the best compliment I can give.
Who cares? Who cares? I'm talking about his argument. Also, leftist is not really an insult. I mean, I have very right-leaning views, and I also have some views that would be considered more, leftist. On the markets, I'm very right-leaning, on the economy. On social issues, I'm actually would be center-left, I think.
Trump was a leftist.
Yeah. So I don't know if we should.
Trump was a Democrat most of his life.
Yeah. So, Leah, for example, I believe in LGBT rights. I don't believe in the woke shit. I don't even believe in trans children. I don't believe in this whole pronoun nonsense. I do believe for example, gay people shouldn't be abused and should have equal rights to other citizens.
Equal rights.
Equal rights. I believe in equal rights for LGBT people. So I think that's, socially that's considered as left center position, right? Anyways, I need to go eat, but guys, we're going to be streaming our discussion in about 5 minutes. I have 5 minutes to eat. I don't know if it's going to be good enough, but so yeah, I'm going to go eat, but come to our discussion group or just watch our discussion, or our group call, our group call on Liberty Politics, on this channel that you're watching, YouTube, Liberty Politics. If you go to the live section in about 5 minutes, or as soon as I finish eating my food, come over here and watch our discussion. And Monkey, you're going to be there?
I'm going to be there. I'm also going to be on after Ollie. You have a show with Ollie. After that, I'm going to be doing a show on, just a little breaking, an update just for you guys that are here. I'm going to be talking about what's been going on in New York, where a whole bunch of Congress people have been elected and they're Islamo-communists.
Okay, Monkey, now I have 3 minutes to eat, so I'm going to end the stream right now. So, guys, see you guys in about 3 minutes. And I'm Israel Chai, Slava Ukraine, Cuba Libre, Long Live America, Javid Shah, Payande Iran. See you guys soon.